Damien Haxon is the most troublemaking Doom master in the world, constantly bringing problems to his family. Unable to discipline this unruly son, his father kicked him out of the house. Damien left in disgrace and became a Death Knight. From then on, he was mind-controlled by a guy named Dogo and committed countless heinous crimes. After realizing what he had done, Damien eliminated him and took his own life. Just when he thought everything was UV, he was unexpectedly sent back to the time before he was kicked out of the Haxon family. Will our Damien be able to fix the mistakes he made with this second chance? Follow Academy Manhwa to find out. The Sefterai begins with a painful scream as humans are attacked by zombies. They swarm and invade the human world. People become chaotic, trying to escape the pursuit of the zombies. A shocking explosion occurs, destroying everything in its wake. In an empty space, a swordsman and a Death Knight face off. The swordsman grips his sword tightly in his hand, then charges forward, delivering a decisive blow towards the Death Knight. The knight quickly blocks the attack. The duel between the two becomes evenly matched. Another explosion occurs, zombie heads flying everywhere. The knight plunges his sword into the ground. This is the strongest swordsman of the Eos Empire. He nods in acknowledgement, unable to believe it, truly worthy of the name Death Knight. Death Knight, the atmosphere becomes eerily silent. The Eos sword slashes right into the middle of the knight's mask. The two pieces of the mask fall to the ground. The knight covers his face with his hand, only revealing his bloodshot eye. After a moment, AT returns to normal. He becomes extremely disoriented when he sees everything before him. The knight stands alone, lost in the ruined city. Even the Empire's flag is half burned by the flames. The Demon Lord Dogo praises his subordinates. Very good. Finally I have overthrown this cursed empire with my own hands. There is an old saying that revenge is sweet when served cold. He stands proudly on the corpses of humans. Finally, what I started 1,000 years ago has succeeded. Do you know how happy I am? Dogo gives a sinister smile. Howard Adlelight asks him with great resentment. How dare you massacre my people? You rotten demon. Is not hell enough for you? Even though he is being scolded, Dogo happily gives the old man a heart. How sweet. Is this a curse? Are you done talking? Now I will start the coronation ceremony. Howard asks in astonishment. What nonsense are you talking about? You are going to sit on the throne. Dogo replies in a playful manner. I am the first in history to rule the entire continent, so it's too embarrassing to be called an emperor. Howard can only lower his head in resentment. Dogo gently floats into the air, then gives praise to his demon lords and the Death Knight. Dogo orders, bring me the royal crown. A glittering crown is presented. He laughs gleefully in delight. The Death Knight Damien slowly walks towards Dogo. At the same time, he asks, my most loyal knight, you played the biggest role in bringing me to this position. How should I reward you for your wonderful dedication? Damien does not bother saying anything. Dogo waits for an answer from him. After a moment, he says, what a silly question. You are my slave. Serving me is the greatest reward. As soon as Dogo finishes speaking, he raises his hands to receive the crown. Suddenly his face changes. Damien smashes the crown. The other demon lords are astonished by this reckless action. Dogo quickly uses his power, creating a barrier to protect himself. The demon lords immediately rush to Dogo's aid. They are all ready to fight Damien. Dogo's painful groan suddenly comes out. He tries to suppress the pain and asks, what are you doing? I have defenses. How can he hurt me? I never allowed you. Damien slowly says, finally, I can move as I please. He glares at Dogo. He can't believe things have turned out like this. What are you saying? I erased all your will, Damien honestly reveals. Outwardly, but I never really disappeared. Locked inside this body, I observed everything. During that time, Damien lived in agony. After hearing his words, Dogo is even more shocked. Huh. You are my greatest masterpiece. For your achievement I will allow you to vent your anger only this once. Until I find a way to control you again. Damien seizes the opportunity and rushes forward. His oppressive power terrifies Dogo. All the demon lords are easily defeated by Damien. Now Dogo is terrified. My demon lords were defeated with one blow. If so, he raises both palms to the sky, then uses his magic to reanimate the zombies. Under Dogo's direction, they frantically run towards Damien. In an instant, his opponents double in number. Despite the dangerous situation, Damien does not flinch. He gently commands them to stop. A torrent of demonic energy emanates from him. Damien says in a stern voice, surrender, all of you. That power causes the zombies pain. Then in an instant, their entire bodies disappear. Dogo trembles. This can't be happening. I created a monster on par with the gods. He coaxes Damien with sweet words. I understand. You must be very angry. I understand. I don't. Dogo already has a plan in mind. Do not think you have won. Even if this body is destroyed, my soul will still transfer to another body, and I will control you again. Damien confides. During the long years of being locked up, I thought of nothing but how to kill you. As soon as he finishes speaking, he unleashes a powerful technique. To kill you, I created a technique that can cut through even the soul. Dogo is extremely surprised. There is no way such a technique exists. This is dangerous. I have to escape quickly. While running away, he suddenly stops. Damien has managed to block him and unleashes the first strike. After receiving the attack from him, Dogo suddenly discovers something. He laughs and says, Right, there is no such technique. Diogo looks up at the sky, demonic energy erupting from him like a waterfall. A whirlwind suddenly appears in the sky. After a moment, 80 forms a strange gate. Dogo stares at 80 wide-eyed. A large explosion suddenly erupts. Dogo's head falls to the ground, then rolls away like a ball. Damien slowly approaches the head. Go to hell. As soon as he finishes speaking, he stumps on Dogo's head. Howard is terrified after witnessing the entire gruesome step to Rai. What is happening? Damien collapses to the ground in weakness. He takes a zippy breath, as if relieved of a burden. Finally, ATZV. Let me do one last thing. I have to apologize to them even if I have to meet them. Even in death, I need to say that I am sorry to my family. He resolutely stabs his sword through himself. There is a voice calling Damien, echoing in his ears. This voice, Louise. His older sister comes to his side to ask, Damien, why are you sleeping here? He gradually wakes up, thinking, thank God, I can see her before going to hell. After regaining his composure, he realizes something is different. Hey, why do you look so doomed? Louis says shyly. Oh my, you are suddenly so sweet. Are you trying to get on my good side before Dad scolds you? Okay, just trust your sister. AT's going to rain. You better go inside quickly. Damien sits there blankly, confused. I definitely destroyed the mansion with my own hands. Do not tell me this is a dream. Or were all those things a dream too? Damien's face gradually becomes fearful as he realizes he might have miraculously come back to life. He looks at a fallen branch on the ground, then picks it up. I will know soon enough. Ada feels so real. Damien runs forward, holding the branch as if AT were a sword. He decisively stabs the branch into a rust, causing AT to break in half. Damien's eyes widen in astonishment. He stands still, observing the change in the rust. Delighted smile appears on Damien's face. This is insane. Cracks begin to appear on the rucks. In an instant, AT shatters into many pieces. Damien laughs until his whole body trembles. The latter becomes more and more savage. He collapses to the ground, still laughing. His hands clench tightly, as if concealing something. A heavy rain suddenly comes. Damien grabs his collar. This is not a dream. I have really gone back to the past. Damien remembers what happened in his previous life. Every day he was met with harsh scolding. You are really crazy. Making trouble in the tavern and being thrown out. How much more will the honor of our family be smeared? I have a talent for tarnishing my family's honor. While he is sound asleep, his younger brother rushes in and asks, Brother, why did you hit the doing master of Lion Bloom? AT's because of you that my sister. At the same time, Louise is riding in a carriage to the doom master of Lion Bloom's place. The younger brother can't stand it and yells at Damien, just being dragged to that rude and lowly guy. You also have the talent to seek ever out the family's future. On another occasion, his mother kneels down in front of Damien and cries, Why did you mortgage the ancestral land to borrow money? Why? And also the talent of having the entire family's assets seized. And so, because of that talent, he was kicked out of the family by his father. Get-o! Damien silently turns and leaves. Suddenly, a voice calls Damien. His sister Louise gently says to him, At least take this money. You have to live happily. His sister's kindness makes Damien very touched. Sister, even though I ruined your life, he tremblingly reaches for the money bag, then quickly grabs AT and runs away without looking back. The day I ran away from home was like running away from the whole family. For the first time, I understood what guilt and shame were. A glimmer of light shines into the forest. Damien kneels down and asks himself, how could I have returned to the past? It's true that I wanted to apologize to my family, but I have really returned to the past. After the dark clouds, the sun gradually appears. Damien looks up. Could this be a blessing from the gods? He looks at his trembling hands. As I thought, even the ditch techniques are too much. Toibe, a technique that amplifies the force of the attack many times Vich. Just by slamming AT into the ground, the oppressive power will spread around. When he was a knight, Damien eagerly participated in battles. He obtained this Toibe technique after killing the knight known as the Wall Breaker. While sitting in a daze, someone rushes Zuva and calls, "Oh dear." Dooming Master. A servant breathes heavily as he walks towards Damien. He guesses, he must be a servant in the family. What is his name? After thinking for a while, Damien suddenly remembers. Victor. He smiles and asks, "Yes." Dooming Master. Why are you still here? Miss Louise told you to come back. Why have not you left? The master is very angry. Damien asks in confusion, "What did I do?" Victor says in astonishment, "Are you really asking because you do not know?" Damien looks at him with a curious expression. At the Haxan territory, a scream of anger echoes. That damn brat. The father raises his sword, intending to teach Damien a lesson. With his agility, he manages to jump aside and dodge the attack from him. Paul glances at Damien with murderous eyes. "You have really gone mad, making trouble in the tavern and being thrown out. How much more will our family be smeared before you are satisfied?" His mother and sister try to stop his anger. "Brother. Calm down. Father. Please stop." Paul struggles and orders, "Everyone. Let go." I said let go. Today I will smash his head. Damien stands still, thinking, so I have returned to this moment. The mother asks in a panic, "No. Are you really going to kill Damien?" His sister Louise pleads earnestly, "Father, please think carefully. Be rational." Damien asks himself, how long has it been since I was last scolded by my father, mother and sister? I miss this feeling so much. Everyone is puzzled by his strange expression. Is he crying? Merelda replies, "Yes, because you were too harsh." The father puts away his sword and asks sternly, "So, are you going to defend yourself? If you still have a mouth, then speak." Damien answers decisively, "No, sir." The father nods and says, "Yeah, of course not. It's impossible not to." Suddenly, he realizes something is wrong. What? No words. Impossible. You, the useless guy who always makes excuses. Says nothing. Damien sincerely says, "I admit it, but it still hurts to hear it from you. I have tarnished the honor of the Haxan territory because of my mistakes. It's all my fault. I have nothing to excuse myself." Paul sighs helplessly. "You are still smooth talking. Do you think I will let it go?" Damien bows his head to show his sincerity. "I will make amends. I will fix what I have caused." As he speaks, he turns and leaves. After that, I will receive the punishment I deserve when I return. Everyone looks at Damien with suspicious eyes. Paul asks worriedly, "Did he get it too much that day and have problems with his head?" At the commercial city of Landwork, Victor hides in the distance and says tremblingly, "Dooming Master, we have arrived." "Dooming Master, do you really want to go in?" It's rumored that they have powerful backing. "I am afraid something bad will happen." Damien replies calmly, "If you are afraid, go back first." Victor tries to force a smile and says, "What? No way. You are going in. How dare I run away?" "Of course, it would be better if we escape together." Damien turns to reassure him, "Do not worry. What could happen if I sincerely apologize to the boss? I will seriously make amends." "Yes, it would be good if everything goes smoothly." Damien goes deeper inside alone. "I do not know why I returned to the past, but if the gods are giving me a second chance, then I can't hurt them again." The talent of crushing the family's future. The two gatekeepers are stunned when they see Damien's appearance. "Hey, you noble. Why are you back here?" "Hey, we already warned you. Do not show your face a second time." He stares at them. "It's been so long that I do not remember clearly, but it's strange. They seem familiar." After a moment, Damien says his purpose. "I want to apologize to the boss for what I caused last time." The two gatekeepers are stunned for a few seconds. Then they burst out laughing and ask, "You are suddenly coming to apologize?" "This guy, I will tell the boss for you," pretending to be virtuous because he is a noble. But surprisingly, I thought he was just a thug from a broken family. But it turns out he is more sensible than I thought. "Hey, I heard his sister is a rare beauty." "Really? There is still good stuff in that house." One of them pats him on the face and says, "Hidong Master, I suddenly want to accept that apology. If you introduce your beautiful sister to me, I will forgive you. His accomplice laughs gleefully. Hey, stop it. He is going to cry now. Damien immediately snatches the dagger from his hand and replies, then that is difficult. I thought I could do just apologize and come back, but it seems I overestimated myself. The gatekeeper angrily yells, this bastard is crazy. Put away. What the hell are you babbling about? Damien uses the sword to cut off half of his hand. Blood sprays like rain, and the gatekeeper does not even realize what is happening. After feeling the pain, he hugs his arm and collapses to the ground. Damien gently says, "Want to see? Then let me show you clearly." The power of the Death Knight in him rises again. Let me show you what the thug of the Haxan territory is really like. Victor watches from afar in apprehension. Dooming Master. I thought you were going to make amends. A scream from someone in a corner inside the city. That guy seems excited to see Ata. Oh. Ata seems like there is a fight. Let us go take a look. The person next to him stops. No, forget At. You do not want to get involved. The sword holder seems to be trembling. You bastard. Do you know who we are? Damien replies contemptuously. I do not care who you are. Do what you want. That statement made the other person angry. Ada seems ridiculous. But listen. No one who has ever messed with the Black Serpent has ever survived. Damien's memories began to flood back. Right, I finally remember. The Black Serpent. An organization that is currently expanding its influence in landwork. And this is one of the taverns they are targeting. When I complained about the sky-high prices, Damien did not escape the scene of violence. They immediately beat me up and mocked me in front of the crowd. Now that I think about At, I am the one who should be apologized to. Right. Suddenly that guy feels a little worried. Why is he smiling? Anyway, I won't be lenient just because you are a noble. Get ready. Finishing the sentence, he held the sword and pointed At towards Damien. But he managed to dodge before he really slashed. The head of the Black Serpent is facing the ground below. Damien immediately released his foot, causing his face to hit the dry ground hard. Pain appeared when he touched his face. Then came a warning from Damien. Honestly, killing all of you here is not enough, but I will endure for my family. Damien cut his leg as the lightest punishment. In fact, he just did not want to affect his relatives. A strange voice came from behind Damien. Who is that bastard? Trouble came to Damien again. Again. The leader said hoarsely, Are you from another gang? Who are you? Damien was bored and did not look him in the eye. Not what you think. I came here to apologize but realized that I am the one who should be apologized to. I have to file a complaint with the owner of this place. So take me there quickly. The attitude of that guy is so arrogant. I do not know what nonsense you are talking about. If you do not say At, then we can only beat you to a pulp. Quickly grab him. Let Damien have to move his hands and feet. More trouble here. He tried to adjust his breathing. Damien's speed moves with the blowing wind. His figure glided past the mercenaries in front of him. Without even looking back to see if the attacker was dead or not, his foot slightly glided a long line like a sword. The eyes of the leader had become surprised and worried. Only painful sounds echoed in the space. Damien felt a little tired. Damn I am out of breath just because of this. Do you want to continue? The remaining person waved his hand and said, No, I'm sorry. If you spare us then. Of course Damien had no intention of sparing them. He approached him with claws from his hand. Back to the tavern. Everyone turned their faces to look in one direction, where Damien's quiet voice rang. Ada seems like I went a little too far. No one knows what is happening at this time. Until Damien threw the corpse down. That is why you should listen to me when I am still calm. The atmosphere fell into terrifying silence. Yet Damien calmly wiped the blood on his face. Everyone ran away in a panic. Oh my god! Go quickly. Damien walked straight inside. Now the blockers have run away. This time the tavern owner Anderson came. Oh. What is all the noise about? Where are the guards? Damien acted indifferently. You must be the owner of this place. If you are talking about those guys outside, then I have dealt with them all. When he saw the corpse, Anderson was very shocked. Did he defeat the members of the Black Serpent? He shouted loudly. Who are you that is causing this mess in someone else's net? He replied, I am Damien Haxan. Anderson seemed to know that surname. You mean the territory of the Viscount? Damien got straight to the point. Right. I did not come here to cause trouble. Just simply want to receive an apology from you. The prices here are too high. I complained, but your soldiers beat me and threw me and thanks to that, everyone thinks I am a troublemaking drunk. And also because of that, my family and I have lost a lot of things. Anderson's expression was mocking. Lost. You must be talking about honor, but you see, I seem too old to understand what you are talking about. From what I know, that Haxon Viscount's house does not even have any honor left to lose. This is no different from an insult to Damien's family. And Anderson still did not stop. You stupid noble. Do you really think that? If you say that, then I will apologize. Stop those cheap tricks and pay for that mess. Damien's smile gradually lost its humanity. I understand. I will forgive you if you apologize. But if you want a tea that way, then okay. Damien went straight up to the first floor. You should also pay the price for what you said. Someone else appeared at that moment. Damien could not sense his presence. His body was instantly pushed back. Damien's eyes widened. This Ori is his enemy. This time is someone else. Anderson smiles triumphantly. Sir Tet, you are just in time. Damien slowly gets up. This is unexpected. I did not think you were suited for a place like this. So tell me, why is a knight here? And he is also a member of the Black Serpent. Knights. They walk the path of martial arts throughout their lives. And based on their level, they are divided into ranks. Official knights are those who can freely use aura, splitting mountains with a single blow, cutting through castle walls like paper. They are transcendent beings. Anderson smiles like someone who is sure of victory. That is right, this is Teet, an apprentice knight who is almost the boss of the Black Serpent. You are definitely dead. Damien's demeanor is always calm. So he is an apprentice knight. That probably explains why I can sense that aura. Tet's eyes narrow. How can he sense AT when I have not revealed any Ori at all? Damien seems to be analyzing intently, but I probably understand why someone like him works here. Probably because he got kicked as an apprentice knight, for not being good enough to become an official knight. Anderson whispers, Sir, how much money did Ada cost to hire you to deal with him? Ted is busy being annoyed with the title of apprentice knight. I will talk about that later. He is probably boiling with anger. I will tear your mouth apart. Tet's sword is close to Damien's face. If he dodges even a minute late, his face might be deformed. While dodging, Damien thinks, as an apprentice knight, he is pretty good, his movements are unrestrained, but his attacks are sharp. Ted is so resentful because of just one sentence from him. He has not gotten tired yet, or intends to rest. Damien is different. I am reaching my limit. I can't go too far with this body. I have to focus on strengthening my physique first. Tenet glares and grits his teeth. You bastard. Let us see if you can dodge this move. His stance looks different from the ones before. This makes Damien more focused. That is a secret technique. He is ready to receive IT. Then I must respond with a worthy technique. A memory suddenly appears. The confident shadow assassin says, Dogo. Who is that weirdo? If I kill all of humanity, there will be no more joy in this world. So that is why. Shut up. And get out of here if you do not want to die. AIT seems like his words are just passing through the ears. The assassin raises his sword again. So you still do not understand. I guess I will kill one more person then. You want to die? Then I will show you my secret technique. To me, it is clear that most of the human body is water. Once you reach this level, wherever the assassin's sword touches, Aya turns into liquid. He uses the secret technique, Kipsi Kim. You can cut through people, even with a wooden sword like this. You should have run away when I gave you the chance. But things are not UV yet. Because what he just cut is more terrifying than Ada looks. The assassin stammers, but I cut you in half. How is this possible? Do not tell me you are immortal. In the eyes of the one considered a monster, reflecting the image of a single enemy, the assassin's body is cut in half just like how he did to his opponent. How can you use my secret technique? Back to the present. Ted is seriously injured and unable to resist. Damien is full of thought. AT's always like this. My enemies do not know what killed them. After becoming a Death Knight, I gained an amazing ability. That is the ability to absorb the skills and powers of my enemies, and turn them into my own. Now Anderson feels scared. He thinks he might lose his life right now, so he bows down and begs repeatedly. Please forgive me for mocking you, great Sir Haxon. Is this compensation enough for you to forgive my mistakes? Damien only wanted to apologize, but he probably has to take this compensation. AT's not enough, but AT's probably acceptable. What are you doing? Come here and clean up. Victor hears IT and pokes his head. Yes. Dooming Master. Victor looks at his Doom Master while he is collecting things. If I did not see AT with my own eyes, I would not believe AT. Since when did he learn swordsmanship? Anderson bows his head to see him off. I wish you a safe journey. The owner received money, making Victor happy too. I have never seen so much money in my life. Anderson's behavior has never been good. I will find a way to get that money back from you. You bastards. I will talk to the boss of the Black Serpent. A slash suddenly cuts across his ear. That is Damien's secret technique. Kip C. Kim. The money made me forget about the punishment. Tell the Black Serpent, if you dare touch a hair on my family's head, I won't spare you. Anderson cries in resentment. You bastard. I won't let this go. When Damien left, the sun had already set. I know very well that doing this won't help me erase the sins of the past. But in this new life, I won't let my family down again. Let us go home, Victor. The scenery of the sun is so beautiful, like a celebration for Damien. At the Lion Bloom territory. Brother, have you ever heard this saying, love always leaves pain? The person lying on the chair says warily. What are you babbling about? With that serious face. Are you about to go to war somewhere? Erwin smiles slyly. No. I am going to find love. The next day at the Viscount Haxon mansion. Damien is feeling comfortable. It's been a long time since I had such a good sleep. Victor keeps thinking about the limbs that fell. Oh, I was so worried about yesterday that I could not sleep at all. Damien is confused. Was not everything okay? It's true that things went a bit too far compared to the original goal, but we got a pretty big reward. More importantly, the rumor will spread quickly that someone caused trouble with the eldest son of Viscount Haxon and was crushed. When that happens, no one will look down on our family anymore. Not only that, but the public's view of the useless son will also change a bit. Even so, Victor feels strange. He did not know before, but he has realized what he is like. He says worriedly, everything sounds okay, but what worries me is the Black Serpent. You not only beat up their people, but also touched some of the apprentice knights they hired. Damien does not worry about that. No matter how brave they are, they would not dare to touch a noble. And even if they did, I would stop them. Do not worry, Victor nods reassured. Yes. In fact, even I think your swordsmanship is not ordinary at all. But hey, Doming Master, since when did you know how to use a sword? Damien will never be able to explain this. That. I just practice casually when I am free. The voice of the gentle Father Paul comes from afar. Damien. He runs fast like an athlete. You little rascal, where did you go all day yesterday? Do not tell me you caused trouble again. Damien says confidently. Do not worry, Father. As I said, I have taken care of everything I caused. Victor. Show him. A pile of money shines like an aura. Not only that, but also land deeds. Perhaps Damien has helped the family. I went to the tavern where I was kicked to resolve the misunderstanding, and found that the calculations were wrong. The tavern owner gave me this compensation as an apology. Paul suspiciously probes. Is this true? Can I believe you? Marilda does not need to be suspicious. Dear, it's probably true. Otherwise, how would the boy get this money? With a witness, Damien has nothing to worry about. If you do not believe me, ask Victor. He went with me. Victor, are you telling the truth? That wink forces Victor to admit. Yes, sir. Damien asks again. Do you believe me now, Father? Marilda smiles. So it's true, dear. Victor feels awkward in this situation. Doming Master, you are a habitual liar, are not you? Noon that day, Damien has been practicing to improve his running endurance. He has reached his limit to run further. Even though I have not moved much, I am out of breath. My body is too slow and weak. I have a lot of things to do, but I can't do anything in this state. Damien rummages through his bag. But thank goodness, I still got this. Back to when Damien was at the tavern. What is this? Anderson explains. That is a type of medicine, made by the Alchemist Academy, to help strengthen physical strength and energy. They are a group of alchemists specializing in medicine. Damien has remembered. Their medicine was once traded at the same price as gemstones. I am really lucky. Damien has now drunk it into his body. One breath empties the entire glass bottle. This stuff is really strong. If I want to get stronger quickly, I have to build up my physical strength first. I have to get back to the level I was in my previous life. That guy like Dogo. A few years later, that damn immortal creature will appear in this world. Before that, I have to have the power to kill him. Only when I can do that, I can protect the happiness of my family. Damien puts that thought aside for now. He continues to practice. This time, I will definitely kill that Dogo. In a city in the dark night. This is Landwork, the base of the Black Serpent. This person is the leader of the Black Serpent. Cedric. He is useless. He is also the strongest we hired. So embarrassing. The subordinate asks for advice. What should we do with Ted 8? Boss. Should we heal him? Of course Cedric is the most cruel here. No, throw him away. But his subordinate feels uneasy. Is that okay? Cedric wipes his lips. Throw him somewhere. He has no value left. With enough money, you can buy anyone. Teddy has heard everything. AT has come to this. Cedric turns around. Oh Ted 8. You still have the strength to stand up. How about this? You will be treated. Maybe I will hire you again. Ted's hand trembles with humiliation. Die. You scum. The Black Serpent still has someone with outstanding power. He holds Tet's leg with magic. Ties Tet's hands to prevent resistance. That mysterious person sneers. Black Serpent leader. Can he be the first target in our contract? Cedric says. Of course. Let us see what you can do. The cloaked one is reading a kind of spell. Ada lifts Ted up into the air. What the hell is happening? Tenet will have to witness a bloodthirsty monster. He earnestly begs. Spare me. But the monster has been waiting for this day for a long time. AT enjoys Ted as a reward for waiting. Ted's limbs fall down below. Cedric is uncomfortable with this smell. Disgusting. I am satisfied, but next time, make IT cleaner. That person gets to the point. I understand. So what is the next contract? Cedric suddenly remembers. That is why I called you. Someone has affected our organization, and he is a noble. So it will be a bit difficult to deal with him directly. Just make him suffer in a different way. The more pain you cause, the more money you receive. This is your advance payment. The hired person smiles evilly. Just leave IT to me. Damien Haxon is panting, sweat dripping down. He puts all his strength. Practicing tirelessly. He strains to lift a heavy load, then puts Ada down with a thud, and keeps practicing diligently. Damien looks down at his muscular arm. He is secretly happy. The effect of the medicine is quite good. My endurance has improved significantly in just a few days. Anyway. This matter. He looks up at the bird and thinks, because nothing has happened for a few days, I am sure the Black Serpent will come looking for me. Suddenly, he hears a noise in the bushes. He says to himself, just as I thought. He reaches out to grab IT. Then says, those damn Black Serpent guys. Unexpectedly, he grabbed at his younger brother's neck. He takes off the mask, realizes A ties his brother. Abio trembles. Suffocates. His throat is so blocked that he can't utter a word. Damien quickly releases his hand from his neck. His brother falls to the ground. Ibio hugs his neck and says, in the time I have not been here, you have gotten a lot stronger. I thought you were going to break my neck. He lies down on the ground tiredly. Damien is embarrassed, hesitates to speak. He did not mean to. He apologizes, then goes to him to help him sit up. He offers his hand, while Abio's face wrinkles up, full of pain. Ibio is still upset about what just happened. He says, I did not come here to hear you apologize. He continues, Father told me that you were apologized to by the tavern owner. But I heard that there was a brawl there and many people were injured. He adjusts his glasses, says in a serious tone, there is no way you would do that. Are you still planning to lie to the family? Damien smiles happily. Calmly says, no, it is true, I did that. But his brother is still worried about his brother. Ibio loses his temper, speaks loudly to him. You do not even know how to fight. Did you hire someone? Damien admits to him. I did AT myself, but his brother does not believe him. Do not lie to me. You can lie to others but never to me. He points his finger directly at his face. Says strongly. Anyway, do not do things that affect our family's reputation anymore. Do you know that the whole family had to clean up all the mess you caused? Damien understands his worries. He gently strokes his head. He smiles happily. You are always so meticulous. And you always want the best for our family. But his brother suddenly resists. Stop it. What are you doing? Why is your hand so hard? He gives a bright smile. Gently reassures. Do not worry. There will be no more trouble now. After a moment, a voice calls from afar. Dooming Masters. Victor runs up. Panting, hastily announcing bad news. He shouts loudly, there is bad news. Both brothers are startled and turn to look at him. They run home together. Damien powerfully opens the door. He is surprised to see his parents welcoming Erwin. His father shouts at him. Erwin calmly puts down his teacup and says, you have arrived. He repeats the words to Damien. I just told the Viscount about what happened at the party hall last time. Sorry for suddenly appearing. I can't do much because my father has already found out about it. Damien is angry, staring at his face, although he does not remember clearly. But it seems like I did something wrong to him. Erwin sneers and says, you also remember the things that happened. Right. He reminds Damien of the Cedarai. Damien angrily replies, what did you say? During the party, they argued in front of the Viscount. Before Damien's anger, Erwin calmly says, I did not mean to say that. Sorry if I accidentally offended you. Damien retorts, what? Did not mean to say that. Damien loses his temper, grabs a bottle of wine. Not only have you offended me, but you have also offended the honor of my sister. What do you mean by not meaning to say that? Erwin calmly says, you are a bit drunk. I did not say anything. He leans close to Damien's ear, says something that excites him. Erwin's face is sinister, uttering exciting words. So what? If I really said that, what about AT? You imbecile. Damien is silent. Telling himself, I should not have fallen into his provocation trap. He remembers what happened that day. After hearing Erwin's contemptuous words, he became angry and slapped him. He fell backward. At that time Erwin hit his head on the floor. He was extremely worried. Returning to the present, before Erwin's confident, provocative words, he can only stand silently, clenching his hands to restrain his anger. He thinks that it is already strange that a person who is about to become a knight was defeated by him. What he wants? Damien lowers his ague, then asks him, so what should we do now? He smiles. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but I have always admired Miss Louise. Paulasorn asks what he means. He just smiles and says, please approve for the marriage between me and Louise. The whole family is shocked by Erwin's idea. Ibio stands as if dead, not believing what he just heard. Damien knows his tricks. He narrows his eyes, says to himself, he is doing it again. In the previous life he did the same thing, taking advantage of when my family was not very stable to profit. If he does that, then this will only be a small matter in the family. We can pretend that nothing happened. The father bows his head. Gently says, we can't do that. Erwin is not satisfied. He shows an attitude and narrows his eyes at them. The father hesitates to explain. Louise already has a fiancé, so Erwin bows his head in anger. What about the insult that I had to receive? Can the Haxon family really solve the wrath of our family on their own? He is upset, definitely pushing this family to the end, forcing them to choose, either pay the price for insulting me, or marry Louise to me. He pondered. Lionbloom is one of the most noble families in the kingdom, but I can't let this infamous lecher take my daughter. Just then, Louise walks. She has to say okay. I accept. Her parents are surprised. The father asks, Louise, what do you mean? The mother advises her, wait, we will find another way. Ibio agrees with his parents' opinion. He says, that is right. Why should you compensate for his mistakes? Damien calls his sister in a trembling voice. Louis smiles gently. Gently says, is okay. I will go with Sir Erwin. He regrets, thinks anxiously that because of me, she will have to once again. He smiles contentedly. That is right. He gets up, smiles with half his mouth. Miss Louise, you are really wise. He eagerly runs closer to her. I will soon send a formal proposal to you. She gently replies, we will discuss it in more detail later. Suddenly, Damien steps out to block the way. His eyes are sharp, looking directly at him. He puts his hand on his shoulder, says in a provocative voice, Damien, do you have anything to say? Or should I call you brother-in-law now? In contrast to him, Damien harbors resentment. This ridiculous bastard, you have ruined my sister's life once, and now you intend to do it again. Louise mentions his name. She is worried. He narrows his eyebrows, sneers and asks, what are you saying? I can't hear anything. Without saying a word, Damien clenches his hand and punches him in the chin. He thinks that he should not have fallen for his trick, for his sister and his family. But he makes Erwin fall Uvich. He unloads a punch on his head. No, you son of a bitch, and tells himself that 80 can't be. Damien can't restrain his anger. Determined to take revenge on him, he continues to rush up and punch him. At that time, he suddenly remembers his sister's past. The maid is delighted. Dooming Master. The car of Miss Louise and Sir Erwin has arrived. He says it has been a long time since they visited this place. Damien is happy. Runs out to the door to welcome his sister. Sister, how long has it been? I miss you so much. unexpectedly. When he opened the door, he witnessed something unsettling. He stands silently, witnessing Erwin grabbing his sister's hair, his voice growling angrily. "You keep whining. So I brought you home. But what now?" Erwin threatens her. "You were sold to me from a poor family. Yet you dare to say you will leave me." He pushes her to the ground, not even looking back despite her crying in pain. He says, "My love, Louise." His voice is haunting. "I will educate you properly so that you can never say that sentence again." Hearing him say that, Louise is scared, trembling. He puts his fist right in front of her eyes. Erwin is assaulting, violent to his wife. Damien can only stand outside the door and watch. She cries in pain. Damien is worried about his sister. He regrets with himself. "It is my fault. It's because of me that Louise was married off." He is furious. "Erwin Lionbloom, that dog. I will never forgive you." Just remembering the old Seth Tarai is haunting. Switching scenes to reality, Damien says loudly, "You are doomed. You bastard." Not wanting to see his sister have to live miserably with him. This time, Damien bravely protects his sister. He punches him so hard that he falls down. Hearing a loud noise, Erwin's bodyguards immediately arrive. He says, "What is that noise?" They are surprised to see Erwin unconscious on the floor. He calls him, "Second Dung Master." He points his sword at Damien. "Is it you who hit our Dung Master?" He turns to look and recognizes them as Erwin's bodyguards. Erwin has woken up. He laughs contemptuously. "You dare hit my face not only once, but twice." Damien's parents are shocked, worried. Erwin draws his sword, says, "You must really want to die, brother-in-law." Powerful team of bodyguards comes to protect Erwin. He says, "Please calm down, Second Dung Master. We will handle AT for you." That is right because there are many people watching. But Erwin is stubborn, asking them to get out of the way. He stops him. Worriedly says, "No, Second Dung Master. A rude bastard like this." Erwin is angry. Dissatisfied with this, he pushes him hard into the wall. "I said get out of the way." Louise is worried and surprised to the point of not being able to blink. Erwin holds the bloody sword, walks up with a grim face. He shouts and asks, "Damien Haxon, I am asking one more time. Are you going to resolve this situation or not?" Louise is very worried. Thinking, no, Erwin will not spare Damien. She immediately shouts, "Please stop." But Damien stops his sister. With a confident expression, he says to Louise, "It's okay, sister. I will take care of AT myself." He loves his sister very much. He hopes she won't sacrifice herself for me. At this time, Damien decisively challenges Erwin. "Let us fight." Erwin's face is grim, sneering in surprise. "What? Fight?" Damien says, "That is right. If you win this sword fight, then I will do as you wish. Instead, if I win, forget everything that has happened up until now." Erwin also retorts very maliciously, "Why should I do that? Those conditions are not beneficial to me at all. As far as I remember, Miss Louise has already agreed." Hearing this, Damien mocks Erwin a few sentences. "Why are you distorting the truth? Are you afraid of losing to me?" Erwin is so angry that he grinds his teeth, secretly cursing Damien, "That arrogant bastard. He dares to act like he can defeat me after landing a hit when I was off guard. I am still not sure how to pay him back, but this is fine too. I will use this to turn you into a cripple and steal your sister." After thinking, Erwin gives a ferocious smile and points his sword straight ahead and says, "Okay, I accept this challenge." Switch scenes. Erwin, Damien, together with everyone, walk out to the arena. "Sis," Marilda worriedly asks her husband, "Dear, should not we stop them?" Paul says with a headache, "Damien is talking so confidently, so he must have a plan from before. Otherwise we can only hope for a miracle." Shibio, standing in the distance, overhears his parents talking and worriedly thinks, "Father, you are wrong. Do not put your faith in miracles." Erwin Lionbloom. His swordsmanship must be at the level of an official knight now. How can Damien defeat him? Switch scenes. Erwin asks, "So should we start? But how are you planning to fight me without a sword?" Damien still replies very calmly, "Do not worry." Then he takes a steel fork, confidently declares, "This is enough." Erwin looks at AT suspiciously. Everyone also gapes in surprise and says, "A fork? This idiot." Erwin laughs happily, then grins and mocks, "You must be so scared that you have lost your mind." Damien does not waver at all. Says loudly, "I won't be lenient with you." Then Erwin takes his sword and rushes up quickly. Erwin used his foot to block his first move. Erwin begins to frown. He dodged a T. Then he tries to think of a countermeasure. If that is the case, then I have to launch another move. Then, Erwin slashes dozens of times into the air and awakens a powerful lion. That is the roaring lion sword. The two sides fight extremely fiercely, to the point that the ground is cracked into many pieces. Damien is still very calm. The bodyguards are startled and tell each other, "Why is he still unharmed? What is happening?" Erwin thought back in fear. In that short moment, he had dodged all the bi-detch moves in the roaring lion sword. Damien smiled secretly as if he had achieved his goal. He was surprised, thanks to his practice in recent days. He had perfectly analyzed the swordsmanship of the Lionbloom family. Before the regression, I used to fight with his brother. His name is Michael Lionbloom. Damien noticed that Erwin was much weaker than him. He glanced at Erwin. He launched a new move, saying confidently, "You dodged it just because of luck, but let me see if you can dodge this move." Damien was concerned with this move. "This is aura. This is a bit difficult to dodge. What to do now?" Erwin began to perform the aura move. He jumped high, raising his sword right in front of Damien. Damien focused on watching his movements. He thought, in this situation, it is best to use the sword sen's ultimate technique. Damien responded to the aura move. The two of them fought fiercely and dramatically. Standing outside witnessing the entire match, both Louise and Jaibio could not help but be shocked. They were so worried that they were sweating. Erwin was surprised to see the fork trapping his sword. Damien used a T to forcibly restrain the power of the sword. He tried to use the fork treasure combined with his power to break the sword. Waiting for the opportunity to come, he tossed the sword out of Erwin's hand and used the ultimate secret technique, the Volneuthos, to attack the opponent. Erwin fell into a dangerous situation. He was extremely scared. Damien held his fork treasure and pointed a tie at Erwin. He said goodbye. He pressed it close to Erwin's neck and could end his life at any time. Louise and Jaibio were so scared that they could not say a word. Damien's parents were like dead people, their mouths gaping in silence. Erwin's bodyguard shouted worriedly, "Second Doom Master." Damien only pierced the surface of Erwin's neck, leaving a scratch on the skin. Blood began to flow slowly, and Erwin stood silently, motionless. When Damien pulled the fork, he fell to the ground, clutching his neck. Only then did the pain come, causing him to scream in pain. Erwin was scared. He realized Damien's true strength. Damien said in his head, "Even if I kill you 10,000 more times, it would not be enough to make up for what you have done, but for the safety of my family, I will forgive you this time." Seeing Erwin clutching his neck, trembling, he stepped up and asked, "How is it? The victory or defeat is clear. There is no need to argue anymore." "Right. Erwin has lost," Damien said coldly. "Now, as you promised, get out of here." The whole Haxon family returned home to have breakfast. On everyone's face was a clear look of anxiety. Damien stood up first, politely saying thank you for the meal. He bowed slightly, his voice gentle. "Please excuse me, everyone. I am going to practice in the morning." He quietly left. The whole family sat back down, their eyes full of worry and sadness following him. "What's this?" Marilda gently asked her husband. "Dear, are not you going to ask Damien about yesterday?" Ibio was surprised by Damien's change. He shared, "I still can't believe that my own brother, who used to be weaker than the word weak, has now suddenly become strong enough to easily defeat Erwin Lionbloom. It's as if he has become a completely different person after just one night." The mother leans close to her husband's ear and says, Ibio looks shocked. "You should ask about AT. Paulasorn said clearly to the whole family. "Stop AT. Do not force him to answer. He will say AT when the time comes." The mother looked anxiously at her husband. She knew for sure that he was also worried about Damien but tried to ignore AT, firmly reassuring the whole family. The older sister Louise advised Ibio to calm down. He tried to hide his feelings in front of everyone. He said to himself, "I am also curious to death, but something tells me that I should not ask him about AT. He is my son, but he is too scary. He is haunted by the image of Damien every time he remembers him." Outside, Damien is preparing tools for his training. He puts sandbags under his calves to practice endurance. He says, "AT's time to go, oh." Suddenly, he hears someone calling him from behind. Ada turns AT was his sister Louise. She said, "I am so glad you are still here." She hesitated, shy about yesterday. Damien was startled, feeling embarrassed, and he thought he should apologize to her. He bowed politely. "I am very sorry, sister. I acted recklessly and put everyone in a difficult situation. I should have apologized to you right away yesterday. Now I promise that nothing like that will ever happen again." She gently placed her hand on her brother's shoulder, quickly saying, "At's not about that." "Thank you." Louise confided to her brother about what just happened. "You also know, I was very scared at that time. At's true that I said I would follow Erwin, but my heart did not want to at all." Damien understood everything better. So that is what she had always thought. She continued, "But Damien, you stood up for me." She remembered when Damien stood up to protect her. Her brother bravely faced Erwin. She shared the things from the bottom of her heart. At that time she felt both guilty and happy. "That is why I wanted to tell you this." She held out her hands as if wanting to hold her brother's hand tightly. "Thank you, Damien." She had tears in her eyes, giving a happy, satisfied smile. Damien was touched. "I should have been the one to say that." He stood in front of his sister, looking at her politely, sincerely thanking her, for the time being. "Sister." He shyly turned his face away. "It is nothing, I am leaving." Louise quickly called her brother back. "That is right, Damien. Take this." She held her father's precious item and said, "The item that father loves most in the world." "Right, father told me to give this to you. Use AT for training." He was surprised. "For me," she said softly. "Father is not good at expressing his feelings. But he loves you very much. Father also told me to tell you this." Louise described her father's expression at that time. "You come from a Viscount's family, so do not use a fork instead of a sword ever again." At this time he was really surprised. "I can see father from her face." He pulled of the sword. He raised the sword high, standing majestically like a warrior, and smiled, secretly thanking his father. The father also had a feeling that someone had mentioned him. He picked up each sword. "Who mentioned me?" Night falls, with a magical power gradually overflowing. In the silent night, the guard continuously yawned, his eyes dull. At that moment a magical power crept in, clinging to his feet. Ada spread slowly to his face. The air spreads further, reaching the palace. At is like smoke creeping through the crack of the door, infiltrating inside obscurely. Suddenly its shape gradually changes. Ada begins to incarnate into a human, and walks forward. Ada mysteriously, gradually becomes a complete human body. An ethereal air creeps through each room. And then some stranger broke in, a mysterious act. Damien is zippy in sleep. Their parents are too, and they still do not know what is going on. A silent foot has stopped in front of Louise's door. Clearly that AT is preparing a plan to break into AT. Louise is still fast asleep, completely unaware that danger is near her. He covers his face tightly, mysteriously approaching her. Ajito looks at her with sly eyes. Teasingly smiles. "Quite beautiful. I came here because of the Black Serpent's request, but I did not expect to meet such luck." Damien's voice rises. Ajito unconsciously startles. Damien stands proudly in front of the room, looking straight at Ajito's face. He seems to have discovered his conspiracy. Sternly asks, "What are you doing?" Damien says the reason he came here, because he felt a strange energy, and the hooded boss is a suspect. Hearing this he still does not speak. This guy is annoyed that his magic makes everyone fall asleep, but he does not, while he can't even feel Damien's presence. Then suddenly turns to attack him. A dark magic is aimed directly at the front of the room door. AT has quite a lot of power. Luckily he reacted and dodged. This guy sees that Damien can avoid, wondering who he is. He asks him back. This is his house. Then the guy vaguely recognizes his name. Is Damien Haxon, and he also confirms. At this time, he became angry, asking who this guy is. What did he just do to his sister? There is a voice when recognizing the noise in Miss Louise's room. This guy also feels unsafe. And also the sound of dogs barking. This guy guesses the servants have been awakened, intending to use magic to run away, because he knows many people will be at disadvantage. Damien looks at him in surprise, calling to stop there, while this guy has run through the window. He runs hastily to the gate angrily, because he watched the enemy escape with his own eyes. This guy leaving also does not forget to give a mocking smile. But Damien is still standing there looking, until he evaporates into the forest. While still confused when he escaped, he has to be startled and look in another direction. On the window there are still traces of when he ran away, so he suspects this energy is. The next day, there is a shout at Damien's house. That is bad. Looking down, seeing dead animals, the two servants are confused. Do not know what to do now. One is afraid the precious horse has died. Do not know how to explain to the Viscount. Afraid he will be very angry. Then turns to ask another, when yesterday AT was still normal, but today AT has become like this. Hearing the question, this person knows also what is going on and is annoyed. Damien suddenly stands behind saying, I have a bad feeling, making the two servants startled in fear when seeing the Dung master. Wanting to explain, he reassures not to worry, when he only comes to confirm one thing, not blaming anyone. They agree nervously immediately. When he suggests borrowing this room, his hand is placed on the corpse of the dead horse, and learns the energy that he lost track of last night has led him to the stable where one has died. He no longer doubts, knowing the Seeperpipai energy is definitely black money, or black magic. That means, that guy is a dark mage. He remembers going his parents to check, knowing the family does not know anything. Assured that he does not need to make them worry about anything, suddenly Damien's expression becomes serious. When the dark energy from inside the forest is connected to the stable, when he is also here. Inside the forest, there is a cave that looks very gloomy. The guy who illegally infiltrated the Haxon house yesterday is doing something in his secret hideout. His expression is then delighted when holding the vial in his hand, scolding the dark leader as stupid. When following his request, looking at the loot, he is even more complacent. When he said to enchant AT was just a lie. With the pile of materials he won't be short to do experiments later. Then sighs because he has declined, thinking about having to receive low-level requests just to earn pocket money now. But considering that the church is hunting him down, he has no other choice, accepting to hide for a while. In the base at this time the footsteps of another person have appeared. Hearing someone complaining, "This place is smelly," he is startled and turns around. The person is still complaining that he is old and reclusive. Looking at the familiar figure, this guy has vaguely recognized who AT is. AT is the person from yesterday, the eldest son of Viscount Haxon. Asked how he found this place, he said he followed the smell he left behind, making him also surprised. Then recounting the things he heard about him. But Ada seems he knows he is not an ordinary reckless kid. Damien asks him directly if he is the person hired by the Black Serpent. Then this guy confirms, they want him to do the most damage to his family. He smiles sinisterly, telling him he is pitiful, when accepting this job, to then now be about to die. Hearing him say that, the guy is shocked, then uses his power, because he sees he is quite interesting, wants to capture him for torture. At this time, he has held the sword preparing to fight, reiterating that this life he will not kill anyone if not necessary. However, there is one exception. That is dirty dark mages like him. The sword is drawn out so shiny that AT can reflect a mirror. He is surprised that he also knows. Definitely this is not an ordinary ridiculous person. Then casts his magic so that he can't escape from here. Damien runs quickly, avoiding all of his attacks very neatly. Seeing him approach him, the guy is surprised because he is too fast. Then he is given a decisive sword, cutting him in half. This guy's eyes become blurry, then widen when feeling pain. His body has been split in half, when he has not had time to come to his senses. Damien looks at him, can regenerate, then is surprised. Remembers this is the ability he saw at the mansion. Compared to the garbage job, he is stronger than he thought. In him he is slowly recovering. Then laughs, mocking him, because the attack just now was nothing. But he does not give up, and will chop him until there is no piece left. Damien's current technique has created many identical swords. While being chopped to pieces, he still does not forget to praise him sarcastically, knowing his reputation recently is not natural. But anyway, he says from the moment he stepped in here he was dead, making Damien also widen his eyes in surprise. The hand holding his sword has been grabbed and controlled by him. More mouths are created, growling with a very difficult to hear sound. He has also explained, he has placed many magic traps everywhere to deal with the pursuit of the church. Damien has become tense, because he sees this is also a bit dangerous. He is gradually tying his body tightly, wanting to make him regret touching someone high-level like him. His body has been invaded by dark energy, also threatened that his whole body will rot and die slowly. When he has really been wrapped into a cocoon by this energy, he still does not stop struggling. This guy seeing this is even more complacent, telling him to shorten his lifespan himself, also boosting about the assigned task. The more damage he causes, the greater the reward. Then seeing this is enough conditions. Happy that no one is hunting him anymore, and he can capture the woman he saw yesterday. Although he is being controlled, Damien still recognizes this is a curse of decomposition. He can't believe AT. He can still speak. Then turns to see he has destroyed the encirclement. Even more surprised that Damien is not affected. He asks him back, because he is asked how much he knows about black magic. His eyes are still a bit worried, when he is stunned, and he himself is too. Looking down at the sword and the mark on his hand, do not know why he still has the power in his body. In the past, when the death god was creating power, also known as the power of God, had finished, suddenly he turned to another side, calling Damien of that time as, "My death night come closer." He silently knows he has given him the greatest power and magic, but is not satisfied, wants him to become the sword and the most evil embodiment that he possesses. Then he takes a knife and cuts into his hand, taking his blood as if he has intended, transmitting to him at that time, shouting he has given him this power to transform into the ultimate weapon. His mouth then constantly chants spells for the magic to be effective. The power being affected is changing, then sprinkles down on Damien at that time, huge energy. The death god is standing looking at this power, also surprised because this is new power, but again joins his hands together. And he is still having to endure this huge power. The death god just passing on power adding, also marveling at what a terrible power. His hand has changed when receiving the new power. The body also suffers no small impact, then screams and has lost consciousness. Damien hovers in the air when he is legitimized with this power, looking at the blinding light from him radiating. This guy feels finally, I have obtained AT, with extremely dangerous eyes. His eyes have also opened, but are very different, with a completely different body, by the power of God. Returning to the present, Damien is very worried. Definitely this is the mark of the power of greed, the power he used to possess when he was a Death Knight. Thought AT was lost when regressing, but now AT has appeared again. Just had time to look up. He is suddenly hit by a source of power speeding towards him. AT knocks him backwards, but had time to stand back. When he just finished attacking, the mage did not stop asking, "How are you alive after the charm?" He also shouts, "Does not everyone have 1 or 2 trump cards?" Hearing him say plot armor, the other guy is again pensive. Damien remembers when he shouted he was high level of Yulin, and has heard about Yulin, an organization specializing in assassination by using black magic, figuring of the reason why he is so strong. Seeing him still wondering about the trump card, he feels not okay, needs to finish AT as soon as possible. Looking at the bracelet on his hand that is shining, and the words saying this is his strongest move have to bring ATO earlier than expected. At this time, the bracelet has radiated a different energy. He has also been covered by a green energy. First, are the arms showing abnormal black streaks. In his eyes he has also lost consciousness. Damien has also become defensive, when seeing there is a lot of black mana, knowing definitely that the ring is to store and conceal mana. When he has summoned a very huge monster, he confidently says if he can break the magic in some way, he also can't withstand this power, then curses him, be burned and die in eternal hell. The monster is opening its mouth very wide, to be able to swallow the person in front of AT. The controller still passing on power to AT, causing a huge shock right where Damien is standing. Seeing the remnants remaining from the move just now, this guy is very happy that AT has ended, thinking he has been burned by the fire of hell, something that burns forever even after death. But at this time, he is slowly appearing, telling him he has misunderstood a very serious thing. The guy is stunned because of the fire, but is explained, the power of greed is not to eliminate magic. Damien steps with a healthy body, the power on his hand shining brightly, still maintaining the power that the guy used just now, then continues the serious thing, is absorbing all the black ma. The mage gaping when hearing the power, does not understand why a person like him is using this terrible power. He shouts, just consider AT a buff from good equipment, then goes straight into a fighting stance, but grinds his teeth, because he has to use the power from the person he hates the most. However, to defeat this guy, he has no other choice but to use the Death Knight skill. Seeing our sword, the sword can only be cast by people who have reached Sword Master. Then he has quickly shouted to stop, but his arm has held the sword tightly, to be ready to slash, then launches a super decisive move, Twight then Kim. The tip of the sword touches this guy's forehead, making him very scared. Then, his body is also cut in half. All of his regeneration skills are shattered. This sword is really very strong, helping him destroy his enemy, but the cave is also about to collapse. Finishing this guy, he is still standing there with a very serious face. The cave collapses, pressing on this guy's corpse very painfully. Damien presses the sword into his face, telling him if he says he will die before then he will reduce the pain, so he has to reveal the hiding place of the Black Serpent immediately. Trading City. Landwork. At this time, he is traveling in a carriage, then a subordinate asks, "Why are you trying to return to the city?" Reading a book, he also has to tell him to be quiet. Victor is a bit shy because the face on the book is quite unpleasant. Then also stops reading when he is asked what book he is holding. He says, "This is the black magic book that I just obtained after killing that dark mage." Because he thinks the master is joking, he shouts he knows how to read a little, and the black magic book is very dangerous, hard to obtain, but also recognizes a strange smell. From the beginning until now, the two people inside the carriage Smell this smell very strangely. Reaching the place he needs to go, the door has also opened. Damien steps down carrying the bag, shouting they have arrived, being given the bag by the master, then asked to do a task. Victor recognizes the smell from this thing. Just finished holding the bag. Hearing that AT is ahead, he also silently does not say anything. Thinking the Doom Master is joking, he has opened the bag, but sees that AT is really ahead, but is scared when looking straight into the eyes of the head. He has quickly thrown AT away. Luckily Damien has caught AT. Then again shouts Doom Master, making him shout to keep quiet because everyone is looking, still wanting to ask what is going on. But he has shouted to do AT later and he has to do a task first. Has held the bag in his hand with a notebook. He assigns Victor to take AT to the place he designates. That way AT won't cause trouble. Hearing trouble, he is even more scared. At a tower, there are 2 guards. Damien comes to this place with a surprised look, making the 2 guys suspicious. They are very angry. When he says straight that the gangs brazenly build headquarters right in the center of the city. AT's really easy to find. He has spoken up to introduce. He is Damien Haxon of the territory of Viscount Haxon. These 2 guys hearing this laugh mockingly, insulting his family. But the blindfolded guy has vaguely recognized. He is the person the leader has mentioned. Guessing they know who he is. So he shouts to get out of the way so he can go in to handle work with the boss. Seeing him go in easily, he does not expect not to be asked the reason. The burly guy next to him has prepared a gun, but fires one shot unexpectedly into the sky. He sees the light from the gun bullet, is also quite surprised. The blindfolded guy smiles sinisterly telling, "You think we would say that?" Damien asks what they just did. Then other accomplices have appeared on the roof. Many people have appeared. When receiving the warning signal from the other guy, he becomes serious when recognizing their intention. Has been surrounded by them everywhere, and is explained. This is a gift the leader has prepared for him. Damien gives a light smile, then shouts do not regret AT. On the other side, someone is very leisurely enjoying wine. This is the governor of Landwork. Sebastian Baker is currently organizing a lavish party with the girls. Knight Robert of the organization has also gotten very drunk but still wants to drink more. The person organizing this party is trying hard to curry favor. When these 2 people come to the party, the governor mentions the trading locations that other BiDinet organizations have. The Black Serpent can take UVA. The other guy hearing this is elated, but is still afraid others will object. When Sebastian says the red light district can be completely controlled by the gang. But the governor is still very certain. He has the power that those guys are no problem. Knight Robert also speaks up when he can't help, but the governor happily shouts for him to guard instead. Cedric flatters, because protecting the security of the city is not easy, and tells him he does not need to be modest. Hearing praise, he is even more happy. These 2 guys in a drunken state shout for him to just shout if he needs anything. Hearing this, he happily bows his head in gratitude. But in his heart, he does not want to bow his head to these garbage guys anymore. He smiles dangerously, but no one knows, because soon the Black Serpent will take Juve up this city. By then they will be the ones bowing down to him instead. Suddenly, a subordinate rushes in shouting boss. He is annoyed because he is entertaining guests, but the subordinate shouts the matter is very urgent and must report immediately. Then Cedric also has to step outside to hear what is going on. Just leaned his ear in to hear the report. Then he shouted the name very loudly. Damien Haxon, making the people inside startled and froze. Very bitterly does not know what the Dark Mage wants to do, but luckily he has told his subordinates beforehand. The subordinate is still worried if leaving AT like that is okay. Then Cedric has told him to go, then reassures, saying he is seeking death himself. Also Damien is on the other side alone fighting a pile of useless guys. Then holding some vial and drinking AT all in front of them. Drinking all that water, he has become different. His power has also increased significantly. His eyes are also full of murderous aura. A person's corpse that has been cut in half flies. Then, are all the guys there together going to meet King Yama? Even though things did not go as he thought. On the street, everyone has to turn around and look when seeing a person wearing a cloak pass by. These 3 people carry a strange power. Damien is leading this Jietu rep, thinking there are a few guys who owe me a favor, so what to worry about. Cedric's face is very tense when seeing a certain scene, thinking of going outside because he has a bad feeling. Then the subordinate also shouts loudly. Does not understand how this can happen. He looks down at the henchmen who have all died in Damien's hands. Can't believe a kid himself solved everything. Asked. The subordinate immediately confirms with him. This is Damien Haxon. He tensely remembers the rumors. when he was just the useless son of the Viscount, did not expect him to be so good, then feels scared when knowing the mage he sent has been eliminated. He runs hastily inside to ask for help, ignoring the guy calling back. Below, he is looking up suspiciously when there is a staff from somewhere pointing at him. Thinking is that thing made with magic. On the roof, the other guy already wants to try seeing if he can dodge this blow. The ball of that thing suddenly radiates fire power. He has let this type of law hit straight forward, while Damien is still holding his sword, directly facing this type of power. The guys above are complacent when seeing he wants to block the fire with his sword, but with a sword spin, he has successfully controlled Itea. With secret technique Vinoluth incest, the fire is being moved skillfully by him. Then AT is fired straight forward. The mage sees the fire is turning back to his place, is still very dazed. A big explosion has occurred. Right on the roof they are standing. Looking up, seeing they have been annihilated, he feels he has finished the work here. Concentrating on thinking, who is the Black Serpent leader after all? But turning around, Damien is startled when being attacked stealthily. Luckily he has dodged, otherwise he would have taken a blow from this guy. Two unfamiliar people just had a feud, now are in a state of preparing to fight. He is very tense when feeling. His aura is so dense that his skin feels like being pricked by needles. The guy who just landed has spoken up. When wondering who he is that is causing so much trouble, Damien feels his momentum at this level. But he still does not stop mocking him as a kid who is too confident, and also is sure that this is an official night. On the street, there is a man having trouble by an unidentified Grop, and Damien on this side. Seeing both the knight and the security guards here is wondering, so that means the governor has come shouting, when knowing he has caused a chaotic scene in the center of the city. Seeing him introduce his position, and shouting he will punish him properly, he recognizes a big customer has also come. Then asks him back why he wants to punish him. Seeing him have that attitude, he is even more angry, saying he has caused a terrible thing. Seeing the governor praising Cedric as a genuine merchant, has been horribly massacred innocent employees by him. The people watching also show contempt, expressing whisperedly with each other. Sebastian says he can't forgive him. He is even more sure he has the guts. Also does not dare to touch the person protected by the governor. Damien raises his finger provocatively when he has seen the Black Serpent leader, making him furious because he sees this kid is impudent. Because he has guessed that this gang has links with the city government, but did not expect them to be so loyal. He responds when the governor's eyes have a problem, because he shouts him as a decent merchant. Sebastian is still stubborn, telling him to apologize, then he will reduce the punishment. But of course not. He calls Knight Robert, when he can't persuade the kid gently, so he has to use strong measures. The other guy receiving the order has also moved, holding the sharp weapon on his back, preparing to fight him. But he still intentionally threatens him to drop his weapon, while Damien is still calm when knowing the city's guardian knight is personally showing up. He is annoyed seeing him different. Mouth says but eyes are not afraid. Does not know if he is being stupid or wise. He says seriously. He is confident enough. This guy hearing that laughs, then launches a decisive attack, saying he is an idiot. Has also dodged the attack, but he is still worried when saying that. But at the current level, fighting a strong person is really not easy. The current plan is to hold O until the time is ripe. At this time he has had to cross his arms to block the super powerful punch of the knight. The reaction of the blocking is too great, causing him to fly backwards. Then tumbles, regaining his posture, not understanding he is defended like that, but he is still strong. Also feels pain. When looking at his arm, the skin has flown away because of blocking the blow just now. His spirit has also become more tense. When knowing that some girl has not arrived, Robert launches an extremely strong attack. When seeing he carelessly looks somewhere else. Seeing the blade near his face, he does not expect him to be so fast. But unexpectedly, there is a hand rushing out to block this blow. Both Damien and the knight are shocked. His blade is also flung back and stuck into the ground because of AT. The soldiers, governor, and the merchant gaping, unable to believe. Being counterattacked. This guy sees he has an ally. Wants the other person to declare their identity. The person has also taken off the hooded cloak. Her eyes also gradually reveal. AT's a girl with very beautiful white hair. Robert and his subordinates can't believe when seeing this appearance. AT's a holy knight. Hearing the shout Dung Master, Damien turns back and blames why she is late. Victor happily runs to him with two more people, in everyone's sight, and also does some silly acts happily announcing he has arrived. Cedric is angry when seeing the church's holy knight has also intervened. Afraid they know he has been trading with dark mages. When asked if he is okay, Damien has pinched his servant's cheek because he made him wait until he got annoyed. Anyway, he has known A is the church's holy knight, so he is also satisfied when Victor did what he told him. The girl hearing this also pays attention. The close servant is very happy, wanting the Dune Master to just assign the task to him. A few hours ago, everyone in the church is praying together. Then there is a figure standing at the door. The holy maiden knows there is a stranger, so turns to look in suspicion. Victor has held the two objects that were brought here, asking if this is the holy church, and is also confirmed by her walking UV. He holds of the two items, explaining, "The Dune Master tells me to bring them to the church as fast as possible." When hearing this is evidence of someone colluding with the dark mage, then she is startled. Her face is gloomy, wanting to see that thing. He also agrees immediately. Holding the notebook in her hand, she feels the energy is a bit weak, but AT is definitely black magic. Moreover, this flower symbol, could AT be? Then snatches the bag from Victor, making him also surprised. She holds a tuft of hair of the head inside here. Reveals the head of the mage. He seeing this feels very disgusted. The holy maiden's expression is full of murderous awe when she has found the name Ajito, one of the leaders of Yulin. Then also grabs her set of clothes tightly, snapping Ata off to reveal the holy knight's set of clothes. Asking Victor, "Where is the person who told you to bring this here?" In the present, she is blushing when asking him, "Are you Damien Haxon?" He confirms he is, and is also told the Holy Church has received the evidence. "We'll handle AT soon." Then he happily shouts for them to be at ease. He won't interfere. The two merchants and the governor in this scene are scared and trembling. The holy maiden speaks up to sincerely thank him. Damien is very happy, thinking, seeing the holy knight of the Holy Church, everything is happening as expected. The Holy Church, they dedicate their entire lives to serving God, always kind and compassionate with civilians. But when having to face heretics and demons, they will not hesitate to sacrifice even their souls. A group of fanatics, the pioneers of the Holy Church, are holy knights. And those holy knights are currently standing on his side. The holy maiden announces to everyone, they have received information. There is someone colluding with the dark mage, is being wanted and is currently in landwork. The people hearing this matter, then whisper about who has been doing net with these guys. While investigating the people involved, she announces the Holy Church will temporarily manage the city. The governor speaks up dissatisfied, because the kingdom has allowed autonomy, but the Holy Church jumps in while the governor is still here. The holy maiden says eliminating heretics is the will of God, reminding the power of the Holy Church surpasses even the kingdom. When hearing he wants to complain to the Holy Church, her face has turned gray, continuing. He and the knight are the top suspects. Sebastian is even more angry when she implies he is involved. She has pointed directly at Cedric, because it is him who has been tolerating the dark mage. Her eyes are also very resentful, saying just tolerating someone like that is already suspicious enough. When being angrily asked by the governor, this guy has denied, saying AT is very absurd. She has shouted she has clear evidence here, but you guys are still denying. Then holds of the notebook recording what the merchant has bought, and assures she will compare AT with the records at the store. AT will be clear. Cedric bitterly curses the mage in his head for recording these things, but is still stubbornly saying AT is a misunderstanding, denying he is involved, but has been rejected to be verified in the investigation. Then points his hand, ordering to take this cunning merchant away. Both the governor and this old guy resist when being escorted away. Before leaving, Sebastian does not forget to look towards Damien standing. Seeing him smiling complacently, he guesses he has planned this beforehand, not wanting to be caught like this, because he does not know what these fanatics will do to him. The merchant turns to provoke Robert, who is being tied up. "Are you going to let AT be like that because you have been framed?" Hearing the call to him, but he still keeps a gloomy face, looking towards his weapon, but still does not say anything. Then uses his power to escape from the encirclement, because he knows being caught like that there is only death. His hand has grabbed his weapon again, wanting to use all his power to kill the holy maiden then escape. Cedric, seeing the provocation has been effective, is very happy. While Damien has known, he has made a mistake. She has completely dodged Robert's move, then shouts he is an idiot, turns back to use the power of her fist to counterattack. This guy, when taking the damage, suddenly freezes. Then, painfully screams because he was hit by an attack that is too strong. The governor and that merchant, seeing this scene, also gape. Damien then only smiles, because he has known the result beforehand. Her arm has pierced through the knight's body, reminding once again, anyone who dares to go against God's will, no matter who they are, then pulls her hand straight out in decisiveness. Robert, taking the full hit, also falls down himself, in the holy knight's stone-cold gaze. She continues the sentence she was still saying, "We'll have to suffer punishment. That is the will of God." Suddenly, Cedric, who is being cuffed, falls to the ground bowing his head. Seeing the governor angry because of his stupidity, he is still silent. Seeing him tremble in fear, Damien and his servant are very pleased. When this is the notorious boss of the Black Serpent is only that. He angrily grinds his teeth, not believing they made him like this. He turns to look at the Holy Knight, because thanks to her everything is okay, in his head still admiring that she is stronger than he thought. This girl, based on her holy power state, is definitely a disciple of Than Dim. Than Dim Brigandine, one of the 5 great saints, the strongest force of the church, famous for countless times eliminating heretics. Damien is unexpectedly turned around when there is someone calling his name. The Holy Knight says his merit of eliminating the Yulin guy is very great. He also shouts that is what he should do. This time, considering the merit, they will not investigate his responsibility. He hesitates, showing he does not quite understand what she is saying. Admiring, she sees through his intentions too fast. When not calling the church, to cover his eyes to attack the Black Serpent. Seeing the Doomed Master bowing his head apologizing. The reason is the Black Mage cursed the Haxan territory. He was even planning to harm the whole family. Victor hears this quite worried. Agnes thoughtfully intends to say something more, but is still a bit hesitant. She turns away shouting that reason can't be convicted. He does not expect this person to be more lenient than the rumors. Knowing there is a reward and A2 will soon be sent to him, Damien sees it is not unexpected. The 2 master and servant both see 1,000 taels of gold, a very terrible number. But he wants the church to help with another thing, so suggests exchanging money for something else. The servant, hearing this, is very annoyed when the Dome Master has been eating and spending very decadently. Now he is even rejecting money. When the Holy Maiden asks what he wants to take, then he says that is a manuscript that the church possesses. She finds it difficult to understand. He himself can eliminate the Black Serpent, but he still needs a mana cultivation book. Damien nods, but again thinks, after the fight with the Black Mage, he has also felt clearly that time he was only lucky thanks to the power of the power. But to defeat the even stronger people later and reach a higher realm, he is forced to have magic to cultivate law, the thing that knights use to cultivate. That is something much more high level compared to what he has ever learned, and says he only learned by Dech skills, requesting this thing to improve himself. The Holy Maiden is shocked that he has reached this level, but his skills are only by Dech. She feels a significant amount of awry in Damien's body. If what he says is true, then his talent is truly extraordinary. But then wonders, he has the determination to eliminate a heretic. Could it be? She smiles, saying there is something else better. When being told to try, he also wants what it is. Because seeing it is really like that, she then radiates Yahello, wanting to invite him to become a holy knight. Seeing this excessive invitation, Damien and Victor are also too lazy to speak. When being rejected by him, she has actually shed tears. Seeing her collapse because of the refusal, these 2 people are also confused. Suddenly, there is a ghastly face warning them. Becoming a holy knight is the dream of many people, allowing him to take the name of God to eliminate demons. The subordinate is scared, shouting Dune Master, still wanting to explain about the important position. Then Damien still refuses when he has no faith at all. Even more than that, not wanting to be a dog for the Holy Church, knowing he can't say AT straight, so he wants to make up some reason, but is also about to say something, saying he is not worthy to receive the love of God, making the other 2 people confused, bragging he only wants to travel and follow the traces of the divine like a humble believer. The subordinate, hearing this lie, does not know if it is okay. The Holy Maiden has heard these words clearly and stands up, excited with the sacred words, then accepting all the blame on herself as if enlightened. He is shocked that that is okay too, saying she will give him the mana as payment, telling him if he intends to return to the Holy Association she will welcome him. There is also one more thing she wants to say is, mouth is flatteringly saying okay, but in his heart definitely that won't happen. Remembering he has not introduced himself, she has said her name is Agnes, the first disciple of Than Viam. He knows she is the first person to be accepted, also warmly greets the other person back. Victor feels tired when the Dune Master has shouted to go to work, but she is still sticking to him. Cedric at this time has raised his head when hearing the noise. Damien's expression is very gloomy, but is still being stubborn, is intending to continue speaking, then has been given a kick by him. Seeing him tremble in pain, he then complains kicking his stomach is like a sleeping pillow. Then, brings his shoe up to his face, making him very angry, but can't do anything, then eats another kick. Eggs and Victor stand on one side confused, because they saw the torture just now. Having vented his anger, he sighs, touching his chest, feeling more comfortable. The attendant comes to ask in a low voice, Dune Master, has everything been finished? He also answers happily. AT's finished. Maybe that is IT, the Marquis mansion of the Lionbloom family. The Marquis of the Kingdom of Apple. Holland Lionbloom opens the door very angrily calling someone's name. The butler is tense. He is surprised when there is someone curled up covered tightly by a blanket. This guy finally pokes his head out, when knowing his father has come. The Marquis's footsteps go to the side of the bed, then asks his son what is wrong, then is told that someone intended to kill his son. Seeing his son scared recounting that person was holding a fork, he is very angry because the cheerful son he had is no more. Then again tells his subordinates to recount the event, wanting to know who did that to his son. The subordinate stammers in Kai, then is urged to speak. Hearing the name, Damien of the Haxon house, then he is even more surprised. The noble glasses are being arranged neatly in the cabinet, then have been affected, causing them to fall down. The two subordinates are scared, bowing their heads. When the boss is angry because the Haxon house dares to touch his son, and is sure Damien's father has used some trick, the Marquis grinds his teeth, ordering to send people to the Haxon territory immediately, wanting to drag them here. AT's early in the morning. There are people coming to the Haxon family's house. They respectfully greet and introduce themselves. Hello, Viscount Haxon. I am Aid, a holy knight directly under the Holy Church. Paul and Miss Marilda also politely say, hello. In fact, Paul is very angry about Damien. He tries to restrain himself, thinking, not only is this kid causing trouble behind my back, now he is even leading a fanatic home. Then he says to the people on Agnes's side, Damien has told me already. He said you will stay here for a while. Agnes politely bows her head answering, yes, this is a decision to serve the investigation of heretics. We hope you will cooperate. Paul is still a bit confused, saying, everyone sees, the house is a bit small. I am not sure if there are suitable rooms for. He has not finished speaking, then Agnes has taken a big bag full of gold and says, thank you for your hospitality. This is a small gift to show our gratitude. Seeing the bag of money, Paul immediately has no opinion anymore. His attitude changes completely, also warmly saying, please just consider this place your home and rest comfortably. Paul and Miss Marilda happily carry the bag of gold to put away. Agnes turns to talk privately with Damien. I want to thank you once again for allowing the investigation them to conduct their work here. Damien suddenly remembers the matter last time and sadly thinks to himself, although she said there was something else she wanted to remember, but he did not expect her to come all the way to his house. Then Agnes asks, Damien, the investigation is very important. Can I ask you one more thing? Damien is confused. About what? Agnes's eyes then sparkle. She says, about you. Damien. Ada turns as she wants to preach. Damien's parents hearing this are surprised and freeze. What's this? Marilda says curiously. Oh dear. I wonder what she wants to learn. Paul gives a thumbs up praising his son. Seeing his parents' expressions, Damien is very shy, wanting to shout, AT's not what you two think. Then Agnes gives Damien a book and says, these are the mana cultivation books you requested. They are the carefully selected ones. Damien takes them and is very surprised, asking, thank you so much. But why give me 2 books? Agnes happily says, one of them is a swordsmanship book. Giving cultivation books without swordsmanship alongside is not good. Damien thinks to himself, I do not need swordsmanship that much. But having more does not hurt. That is the swordsmanship BLC Jai and King Kingfop that I have never seen in my previous life. Agnes pretends to gently remind Damien, It's hard to find these books. Damien nods, answering, I know. Thank you. Then she says further, honestly, it is not easy to get them at all, especially when the Holy Church still opposes. Damien gratefully says, you must have spent a lot of effort. Agnes says, yes, finally had to rely on my master's authority. When I told my master about you, he said you are the chosen one that the Holy Church is needing. She sincerely begs him, so once again, please consider becoming a holy knight again, can you? After considering for a while, Damien holds his hand, rejecting her offer, gently saying sorry. Her eyes are teary, understanding Damien's decision. She says, I understand. Before leaving, she smiles, still saying more will be impolite. But if you change your mind, just come find me. Damien says in his head, just as I thought. She is really a fanatic. That infatuation is admirable, not confessing a sin. A refusal. Switching scenes to a mountain cave. The Geepy rep with the Ains are looking for some clue. One guy says, hey, what is wrong? He holds up an artifact, frowning, then covering his nose. Does not he see this as a bit suspicious? What do you mean? He angrily says, try thinking about AT, who is Ajito. That is a high-level character of Yulin, who has escaped the hunt of the Holy Church many times. He, while examining the artifact, thinks, "It is true that Agito is of the curse faction weak in close combat, but even so, is it reasonable that a dark mage as strong as Agito is killed by a country bumpkin noble?" The colleague standing next to him sighs. He says, "But what to do now? In fact, I also wonder like that." Agens did not say anything about a time. The two look at each other, their eyes full of confusion. Confused, they ask each other, but do not know how to raise this issue. The friend answers, "Investigate it first, then talk later. Now concentrate on the investigation." At that moment, a voice rings from behind. "The two of you can trust Damien Haxon." The two startle and turn back. A figure has been standing there from a long time ago. A turns O's Ains. She says, "I know the reason you two are suspecting, but he is not lying. Even so, I still can't understand how he can kill Agito." She explains for them to understand. "We have heard him tell AT already, right?" The guy tries to remember that day and wonders to himself. Did he? Ains reiterates Damien's words said at that time. "I only dodged the blow, then chopped off his head." Hearing this, both friends in the investigation them are surprised, widen their eyes looking at her. "You mean what he said at that time?" He still does not believe this. "You mean he really only dodged then killed him?" Agens bows her head, recounting the event. "That day, when his servant brought Agito's head, even I suspected his skill, so I stayed to observe instead of directly intervening. He alone fought with dozens of people without being scratched at all, completely overwhelming his opponent. What shocked me the most was, Damien launched fire magic, the strips of fire undulating in the air, gaining the overwhelming advantage for the battle." She continued to recount the din bin of the event. "He blocked a fireball, or in other words, a magic." Both guys are panic-stricken, gaping, not saying a word. "Is that true?" Agens thinks that it is also possible. "I have heard that people who reach the level of sword master can block all kinds of attacks, including magic." The whole group went silent for a moment, then started discussing. He said, "If that is true, could it be that Damien Haxon is?" His colleague continued, "Of course, I am not saying he is a swordsman, but it's clear he is an extraordinary warrior." Agens said seriously, "Although my main purpose in coming here is to hunt down Yulin, I also want to take Damien Haxon to meet my master. He could become an asset to the sanctuary." She earnestly pleaded with the two men, "So please put aside your suspicion and focus on the investigation." Both men agreed, responding clearly, "We understand." The sound of galloping horses echoed. Garrick's army, full of spirit, waved their flags and advanced forward. Ulpa stretched and said, "Ada, seems like we have finally arrived." His friend Lavender frowned, covered his nose. "Hey, Ulpus, what is that smell?" "Ada stinks." The knight Ulpus laughed and teased his friend. "AT's cow manure. You country bumpkin. AT's a rare smell. Get used to AT." Lavender felt uncomfortable. He asked, "Do you have any perfume?" "If this smell sticks." Garrick got angry, his voice serious, suggesting the two of them be quiet. He turned around and glared at them. He asked, "Is that the Haxon mansion?" Ulpus replied, "Yes." "Lord Garrick," he asked him, "what mission did the Marquis give us?" "Our mission is to capture Damien Haxon." General Garrick frowned. "Catching that piece of trash is easy, but that is not enough to wash away the humiliation for Doom Master Irwin and the Marquis." He glanced and saw someone passing by. It was an old man, hobbling past. He silently crossed the ranks of Garrick's army. Without saying a word, Garrick asked, "Hey, old man, who are you people?" Garrick looked at him, suspiciously asking, "Do you live in the Viscount Haxon's mansion?" The old man replied slowly, "Yes." "What is the matter?" Garrick got angry and attacked him with a slash. He raised his voice at the old man. "Just a commoner, not bowing when seeing the Lionbloom family crest. That is a serious crime." Ulpus thought he was blind, but Garrick did not accept the old man's attitude. Ordering Lavender and Ulpus to come, he smiled triumphantly. "Wickedly, I have a great idea. When we get to the Haxon mansion, we will drag that bastard Damien Haxon. Oh." Victor discovered something. Garrick continued, "And then we will slaughter all those who catch our eye." Victor saw the Lionbloom family's army entering the mansion. He was terrified. Utterly frightened, the investigation them quietly walked sending Ains off in the dark. Silent space. He crossed his arms and said, with a regretful tone, "Because the area collapsed, we could not gather as much information as we hoped." Agen smiled, gently encouraging, "He's okay. You all did a great job. A moment later, they unexpectedly discovered something, causing everyone to freeze. Unexpectedly, the person they discovered was Damien. He was quietly training a mysterious power in this very forest. Ada seems this is his new energy, capable of moving a leaf in the air. He focused all his mind on each movement, feeling the flow of power in his body. Witnessing this scene, everyone was surprised. They could not believe their eyes and exclaimed, "Oh my god, what is that? I do not know what a TI is, but a TI is very amazing." Agnes, in particular, stared without blinking, her mouth agape. She said to herself, "What am I looking at? The BLOCCA key king that I gave to Damien is a cultivation method. If he reaches the highest realm, AT will allow him to absorb the surrounding mana." But he did AT in just a few hours. She witnessed the entire training process of Damien, clearly seeing the focus and seriousness in each movement, so she was not too surprised by this incredible progress. Finishing the training session, Damien sighed in relief. He was surprised to receive applause from Agnes's Gyeburup, their eyes shining with admiration. Admiring him, he asked about the Thim's situation. "Have you all finished investigating?" Agnes replied, yes." She continued, "Damien, you seem to have improved a lot." He humbly replied, "Just a little." Damien gave her a precious book. He said to himself, she was not exaggerating when she said AT was hard to find. "In my past life, I was a swordsman, so swordsmanship does not mean anything, but this cultivation method is extremely useful." He recalled his training process and realized that the BILVCC Kakung was created to compensate for the large amount of mana consumed by the BLOCCFCGA Kim. Thus Ada collects mana faster than other skills, and can even temporarily absorb mana from the outside. The two stood looking at each other for a moment, not knowing what to say. Damien said, "AT's dinner time. Do you want to go back now? Dinner is being prepared." She lowered her face slightly, shyly. Damien was always alert to something. Glancing around, he said to himself, "What is this killing intent? The bugs have arrived." He excused himself to everyone. "I have urgent net to take care of, so I will take my leave first. Miss Ains, please return at your leisure." Damien ran straight ahead, without looking back. Everyone marveled at his speed. They had to exclaim, "So fast." Agnes walked while thinking about Damien's abilities. Moving so fast with so little mana, he must be controlling AT at an extremely subtle level. She posed the question, what are his limits? Elsewhere, the Knights of the Lion Bloom family had begun to act. They swung their hands decisively, full of power. Victor was in danger. Lavender rushed Uva like the wind, unleashing a barrage of attacks. He stood up confidently, smiling arrogantly at Victor's miserable failure. They attacked Victor savagely, stomping on him. Garrick angrily shouted, "You filthy bastard, dare to resist me. I told you, hand you Viep Damien Haxon now." Despite being attacked savagely, Victor resolutely defended Damien. He retorted strongly, "No, you are going to harm him." Hearing the noise from outside, the maidservant panicked and cried, "Oh, he is here." "Viscount." Paul demanded they stop immediately. He worriedly ran to Victor's side. Garrick raised his voice, "You must be Viscount Haxon." Paul was worried about Victor's condition. His hand trembled as he helped him up, and repeatedly called, "Oh, Victor, are you all right?" He was indignant, speaking out to protect Victor. "What the hell is going on here? Why are knights assaulting civilians?" Garrick confronted him. "Compared to what your mansion has done to the Lionbloom family, this is nothing." Garrick conveyed the order to Viscount Paul Haxon that Marquis Lionbloom demanded the surrender of Damien Haxon. He provoked Paul, "Obediently hand on UVH and your territory will be fine." The Viscount thought in his head, "Limbloom, I expected retaliation, but this is too brutal." He looked at Garrick's terrifying face and thought, "That is clearly a lie. If I do not honeydew my son, they will definitely turn this place into a sea of fire." He smirked, waiting for the Viscount's answer. After considering for a while, Paul made a final decision, frankly telling Garrick, "I will never hand you eat at my son." Garrick pressed, "You won't regret that decision. Then we have no other choice." He declared loudly and assigned the task to Knights Lavender and Ulpus, till that bastard Damien appears. "Destroy everything," Paul worriedly shouted at them. "You bastards, stop it." He thought in his head, "Those bugs have discovered him." Suddenly, a person appeared from the darkness. He exuded a fresh power and unusual aura. Seeing this, the Limbloom Knight stood still, not daring to attack immediately. Garrick glanced at him. He recognized AT was Damien. When did he appear? Lavender asked, "Who are you?" A few seconds after Damien walked past, he noticed something unusual. "What is this? I can't move." It was strange. Damien had only just passed by, yet Lavender and Ulpus were standing frozen like statues. He came to his father, worriedly asking about what just happened. "Are you alright?" He replied, "I'm fine." But Victor. Worry was evident in Damien's eyes. Victor was still lying still, his body showing no signs of reaction. He whispered softly in Victor's ear, "And hateful to the Lion Bloom army. You have probably heard I am very lucky, have not you?" If Victor was not born with a strong body, he would have died from that beating. "If that were the case, I might have killed all three of you here," Garrick angrily shouted. "What? You bastard. So you are Damien. They say you are bold enough to defy the Marquis. Turns out you are just a madman. Or do you think you are cool because you defeated a nobleman with cheap tricks?" Damien glanced at him. "Cheap tricks?" Garrick ordered his men. "What are you standing there for? Break his legs and make him kneel before me." Two soldiers obeyed the order, immediately rushing forward. Damien concentrated his spirit. Before their attacks, he reminded himself, "Screw 80, he easily blocked the enemy's moves." Appraising himself, "Very good." Then he muttered to himself, "I was planning to test the mana I just accumulated from the BLCC's Kyung. It's convenient to have a few perfect targets deliver themselves to my door." The two enemies were beaten senseless by Damien. So scared that they just wanted to run away, they shouted each other's names. Lavender. They still stubbornly tried to fight Damien to the end. Then finally received the bitter end of taking a powerful strike from Damien, while Damien was very satisfied, deciding to use these enemies as much as he pleased. Seeing the situation was unfavorable, Garrick immediately rode away. Just then Victor vaguely woke up. Weakly calling, "Dooming Master." Damien immediately went to see him. "Victor, are you alright?" Victor lay on the ground, his hand shaking as he raised it. Although in great pain, Victor still resolutely smiled and gave a thumbs up to Damien. Damien was very surprised to see that. He smiled faintly, his heart warming. To Damien, Victor was really interesting. Right then someone walked up, stopping at Damien's place. Garrick came in front of him and glared at, "You, once again you got caught in those cheap tricks of Master Irwin." He looked at the soldier lying on the floor on his last breath and said, "Still, I do not understand why does a good-for-nothing guy like you have those skills." Damien stood tall and spoke, "You do not have to know." Garrick looked at him, narrowed his eyes and thought, "He is?" After hesitant for a few minutes, he arrogantly said, "So that is what AT is. I get 80. Damien ignorantly asked, "What?" Then he pointed right at his face and confirmed, "You are not Damien Haxam." Paul was holding Victor on the ground, stunned to hear that. Damien, with an annoyed attitude, frustratingly asked again, "What the hell are you saying?" Hearing him ask, Garrick could not stand AT and yelled, "Do not trick me." He pointed at his face and angrily shouted, "You think I would not know this is a trap that the hunting dogs put on the battlefield, just to stop the Lion Bloom family from thriving? You are not the real Damien Haxon. You are definitely a fake, someone hired to defeat Master Irwin, and stain the reputation of the Lion Bloom family." Damien felt powerless when he heard the idiot in front of him rambling. Garrick still stubbornly said, "These lowlifes dare to play with Lion Bloom." Then he planned to pull his sword to attack him. Damien, hearing this, sighed, "This guy is even more stupid than I thought." Garrick was standing defensively, his expression fierce. His hand held the sword behind his back, wanting to get rid of him. A hand freely lying on the ground suddenly moved. The soldiers lying scattered on the ground heard their conversation and thought, "Damn, what should I do now?" "For now, I will just pretend to be knocked down." Paul helped Victor stand up and said, "Damien." Victor was tired but also hopefully thought, "Please win." Garrick with his hand tightly held the sword, seemingly hesitant on something. He stood firmly on the base and faced Damien. He stood still fearlessly. Garrick thought, "He seems to be good, but his luck has run just half a step. He just needs to get into my striking range." In sight, the space seems to freeze, and like AAT only revolved around the two of them. Garrick victoriously thought, "I will split him in half." Then he started pulling his sword to attack. The eyes had a murderous air and wanted to destroy the opponent until the end. Cut him in half. He held the sword and chopped quickly towards Damien, but he quickly blocked that chop with his sword. Feeling the power of Garrick, Damien smiled in interest and said, "As expected, Lion Bloom, this time they sent a reunite." Damien's quick reflexes made Garrick angry and carefully took a step back. He shockingly widened his eyes and thought, "No way. He blocked my strike." Garrick glared and calmed himself. "It must be luck." He held the sword and prepared to attack. Then, he flew quickly like an arrow, rushing to Damien, determined to eliminate him. But Damien was very calm, observed him and said sarcastically, "You are too slow." His words made Garrick feel insulted, gritting his teeth in resentment. On the other side, Damien arrogantly said, "It's my turn," and then he changed into a different person, holding the sword and rushing in like a wind, with a ferocious look and murderous air. Right then, streaks of red blood splattered in front of Garrick. There was a shadow rushing quickly like an arrow and hitting him. Garrick got hurt, cried in pain and thought, "I can't see his attack." Then, a pair of long legs were lifted and with a powerful kick, Damien appeared from nowhere and kicked Garrick's face painfully. With an arrogant and smug look, Garrick lost his balance and fell on the ground, seriously hurt by his intense attack. He curled up on the ground because of the pain, and facing him was the very calm look and arrogant aura of Damien. He looked straight into Garrick's eyes and said coldly, "This is for Victor." Garrick did not give up and struggled to stand up trembling and stammered, "You." Then, he held the sword, concentrated his power and charged at Damien, angrily cursing, "You bastard." Damien narrowed his eyes and observed, his eyes sharp and emotionless. Damien glared scarily, the murderous air, using his technique and rushing forward like the claws of a monster. The ultimate technique speed lion-eye sword. Damien scornfully said again, "Too noisy." Then he used his hand to hold the sword pointing straight at Garrick. He teased, "But that is all you have." The tip of his sword was next to Garrick's source of power, and the magic claws were split in half, and like there was an attractive force connecting to Damien's sword tip. Garrick's prestige was shattered, and the sword was broken, making him gasp in horror. Damien's sword pierced through him, making Garrick bleed everywhere. Garrick was scared of his mind and ran away, but Damien would not spare him, and he launched another move hitting Garrick who was running away. He was attacked, could not defend, and vomited blood painfully. A second later, Garrick ran out of power, fell on the ground struggling. At this time, Paul and Victor went VV down dumbfounded when they saw the image in front of them. Paul widened his eyes, somewhat surprised. And Victor, despite being exhausted, was also very happy. He won. Damien heard the noise and glanced at them, his expression serious. Garrick frowned because of the wound and used his ability to heal AT. "Damn Ada hurts too much. Have to stop the bleeding." But at that time, there was a sharp sword tip, stabbing the ground, close to his face. Damien held the sword to his neck, making Garrick scared to beg, "I do not know who you are, but you win. Please spare me." "Please," Damien coldly replied, "I am Damien Haxon." "You fool. And you should have begged for mercy sooner. Do not you think it is too late? You touched my family, and made my ugly servant look even more ugly, and now you still ask me to spare you." Garrick panicked and begged him, "I'm sorry. I apologize for what happened before." Damien continued, You still do not know who you should apologize to." Hearing him say that, Garrick was confused. Huh. In front of him was Victor and Paul looking scary, holding weapons in their hands and glaring at him. At this time, Garrick and his two subordinates were kneeling on the ground with injuries all over them and tired faces. Victor held the weapon in his hand and looked at him smiling dangerously. "Dooming Master, I am still not satisfied. Can I hit him a few more times?" Damien, standing next to him, interestedly replied. "Enough. If you hit him more he might die." Victor put the sword on Garrick and said, "Then how about chopping off his limbs?" He calmly replied, "Actually that does not sound too bad." Right then, Paul stepped forward and stood next to Damien and calmly called, "Damien, that is enough." Garrick sat on the ground, hugged his arm and kept apologizing. "Lord Haxon, I was wrong. I apologize for being disrespectful to you." Faced with his attitude, Paul glared, his face angry and scary, said, "You think just an apology is enough to make up for AT? If my son was not so strong, my territory would have been destroyed. No one knows what he had to endure when the Marquis family took him away." Hearing those words, Garrick repented, bowed his head and begged, "I beg you, please spare my life." Paul saw his appearance and glared, his eyes zipped looking at Garrick. His face unreadable, Paul pondered silently. Then, he glanced UV at Damien and saw that he had put the sword back in. Damien looked at Garrick and thought, "I did not really plan on killing them. If I kill them here, the relationship with the Lionbloom family will be completely broken. If I was alone, I would not hesitate to face the Marquis family. But I can't do that when I still have a family. However, if I let them go easily like this, they will definitely retaliate soon. What should I do? In the meantime, someone came and called Damien, making him surprised. Aegis anxiously ran to V and asked, "What happened?" Damien looked at her and suddenly thought, "Hold on. This time she will probably help." Aegis heard him explain everything and spoke. "So that is what AT is?" She smiled and said to him, "If you are worried about that, maybe I can help." Damien asked, "What idea do you have?" Aegis comfortably expressed, "Thanks to the Haxon family, this is the first time we have eliminated one of Yulin's leaders. Then, we can designate the Haxon family as our family." Damien interestedly realized something. Paul thought, "If that happens, my family can't escape this crisis." Damien went UV and grabbed Agnes's hand, his eyes sparkling, and said, "If AT's not too abrupt, would you accept this proposal?" Agnes, seeing this, blushed happily. "Of course." Damien, hearing this, smiled, his eyes dangerously thought, "Just as what I aimed for, protected by the sanctuary." His face was like a different person. "The same person." Damien let go of Agnes's hand and said, "Sorry," she shyly replied. "ATZF." Paul saw that and sarcastically said, "Did this kid use his looks to charm her?" Victor agreed and nodded. Damien glanced at Garrick on the ground and fiercely said, "You guys heard AT right. Quickly tell the Lionbloom family. Tell them that the Haxon family is now under the protection of the sanctuary. If they still dare to use force, then they will have to face the wrath of the sanctuary." He glared, his appearance dangerously challenging, said, "If you understood, then get lost." As soon as he finished speaking, Garrick's gang ran away. "Thank you." Victor proudly held the stick. "Consider yourself lucky." "You bastards." Victor smiled lightly and said, "See, they ran away like dogs with their tails between their legs. Now we can breathe a sigh of relief." "Right," Paul replied. "Not necessarily. Now we have to think about the next step. We need to hold a family meeting." Victor wondered. Transition to a room in the mansion. A voice rang. "Oh, okay." Paul sat powerfully on the chair and calmly said, "Let us start the meeting. The topic will be, as everyone knows, about handling the grudge with the Lionbloom family." Ibeo wondered, "Father, were not we just protected by the sanctuary? Why do we still have to care about this feud?" Luisi explained to him, "Ibeo, that is because we can't expect the sanctuary to intervene completely." Ibeo replied, "What?" Paul spoke up, "Luis is right. The sanctuary does not intervene too deeply in the affairs of the nobility. Moreover, Lionbloom's power is not just in their military force. If they want, they can seep-rut small nobles like us in all sorts of ways. Currently, the most practical option is to pay them to keep their mouths shut, or seek protection from a higher-ranking noble. In fact, joining under the wing of another large family is probably the best opportunity." Suddenly, someone appeared and spoke. "There is still another way." Agnes raised her hand and proudly introduced, "Damien Haxon can become a holy knight." Damien narrowed his eyes, blankly thinking, "I did not expect her to bring that up right now." Everyone turned their eyes to him, and he spoke, "I do not want to." Paul, hearing this, reluctantly said, Damien does not want to, so let us skip that option." Damien indifferently replied, "Understood." Suddenly Ibeo slammed the table, losing his composure and shouting, "Father!" Paul helplessly asked, "What is wrong with you?" Ibeo said seriously, "Why are you so easily accepting a time? If he just becomes a holy knight, everything will end." Then, he pointed at Damien and said, "Just tell him to accept AT." He annoyed thought, "He says IT like this matter has nothing to do with him." Ibeo continued, "What is with that look? Thinking about IT. All this started with you, because AT's all your fault." Paul suddenly spoke up, "Ibeo." He sternly said, "We have guests. Sit down while I am still being gentle." Ibeo, reminded by him, reluctantly sat down. Paul held his head and said tiredly, "Ibeo is right. Damien is the one who started the conflict with Lionbloom, but we can't blame him either." Damien crossed his arms, silently listening. Lionbloom's second son had bad intentions towards Louise. Even if Damien did not act, do you think that guy would easily let her go? He trembled sadly and said, "In fact, Damien protected Louise from the schemes of the second son from the Marquis family. in place of this incompetent father. Paul stood up, slammed his hand on the table and shouted. So Damien. Damien bowed his head slightly and replied, Yes, father. He walked Zu V8 and praised, patting his shoulder. You did a great job today. Surprising Damien. He continued, You stood up to protect the honor of the family and responded appropriately. Damien felt touched. I did not expect him to feel that way. Damien bowed his head and replied, At's what I needed to do. Paul said to him, From now on, let father handle this. Damien surprised. But. Paul replied, Let father have the opportunity to act like a proper father, at least this time. Suddenly, a voice interrupted. Lord Haxon, sorry for the intrusion. Paul asked, What is the matter? The butler respectfully reported, Someone from the Gold Pix family has arrived. He wondered. Gold Pixie, what does that Duke's family want with us? The butler awkwardly replied, Well, Dooming Master Damien borrowed money, using the family's rice fields as collateral, and the repayment lay has passed. Damien thought in shock, Do not tell me I have already sold them. Then, he angrily looked at him with a fiery gaze, frightening him. Immediately after, Paul grabbed his collar and angrily shouted, Damien, you damn brat. A man walked UV, taking off the beret on his head to greet him. This man spoke friendly. Damien. Hello, sir. Seeing him, Damien warily thought. This guy, I vaguely remember. He is the director of the Western Dash and Cash branch. Olin Michel, bringing several subordinates following behind. Smiling industrially, long time no see, today I came because of the agreed payment date. That sly fox Olin had previously enticed him saying, Would not it be better if you used the family's land as collateral? That way, we can lend you more money. This is just a formality, no need to worry. How would a lowly person like me dare to take the land of a noble like you? With all sorts of sweet words, he was the one who persuaded Damien to sign a long list of predatory loans. Remembering back then, he could only secretly scold himself, Damn a. Past me. Why did you hand to UP the land documents back then? Thinking this, Damien spoke up, How much do I still owe? Olin held up 3 fingers, smiling industrially and replying, You borrowed 200 gold, so including interest, the total is 300 gold. Not believing his ears, he was so shocked that he spluttered, Oh. What? He firmly asserted, That is the exact amount. Would you like to see the contract again? Damien took a few steps back, his face pale. Secretly thinking, It's been so long, I do not even remember why I borrowed the money. But clearly my family does not have that much money right now. If this continues, my family will be kicked on the street. At that time, everyone in the family will become poor, kneeling on the ground begging, Please give us some money. The kid passing by will say, Mom. Look. Beggars. The mother will quietly remind, Shah. Do not stare at them. You can't look at people like that. Recognizing Damien's awkwardness, Olin softly cleared his throat and said, You know, if you do not pay today, the land you mortgaged will become Dash and Cash's property. He was extremely dissatisfied and reiterated, You said the collateral was just a formality. He still kept the industrial smile and replied, Of course I said that, but what can I do now? Duke Gold Pixie has ordered the recovery of all debts, regardless of whether they are from nobles or commoners. So if you understand, please bring the money. Or, do you not have it? Saying this, Olin widened his bright eyes full of killing intent. Damien could only bow his head. Honestly admitting, I was not able to prepare the money to pay the debt. Hearing this, he was slightly surprised, seemingly unable to believe that he would be so honest. But only a second later, the corner of Olin's mouth slightly curved up schemingly, dragging a sound. Is that so? He casually sat down on the sofa in the living room. Looking very comfortable, stretching on the chair, his tone also changed immediately. Tetch. Then you should not have borrowed the money in the first place. Olin raised his hand and snapped as if giving a command. Hey, I guess I will have to collect the money my own way. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 of his subordinates approached Damien, glaring with bright eyes as if they were about to devour him alive. He observed him from behind, smugly thinking to himself, I knew from the beginning that he would not be able to pay. Frankly, I do like Ryu money, but I like this moment even more, getting to see those arrogant nobles kneel before me. So what kind of expression will Dung Master Haxon make? Just imagining a tea is so satisfying. Thinking of this, Olin stuck out his tongue, so stimulated that his face flushed red with perversion. Meanwhile, inside another room, Paul sadly sighed. He kept pacing back and forth, looking extremely anxious. Ibio in the back was no less worried. Seeing this, Marilda gently reminded her husband, "Honey, please, just sit down and rest. You pacing back and forth like this is making the floor wear oh." Louis sitting across also spoke up. "Ibio, calm down too." Paul worriedly shouted. "Darling, how can I sit still at a time like this? Our family could be ruined." Ibio in the back agreed. "That is right. How can we sit still when our family's future is threatened?" In contrast to them, Marilda casually sipped a sip of tea and replied, "Damien said he would take care of Atai, so let us trust him and wait." Louis smiled and added, "That is right. Damien has never disappointed us whenever he stands up." Has he? But he still could not stop worrying, because Paul understood his son the best. He paled and muttered, "At's only because his swordsmanship is excellent. Combat skills and negotiation are two completely different things." Just as Paul thought, on this side Damien had already slaughtered Olin's subordinates into pulp. He grabbed the head of one of the subordinates, slamming him hard on the ground, the strength so great that At caused the ground to crack and break. Seeing this, Olin, who was sitting on the chair, flinched in fear, looking at Damien with a wary gaze. He lifted up an unconscious subordinate with one hand, looking at the cracked ground and lamenting, "Father's going to scold me again. He just fixed the wall the other day." Suddenly, another subordinate ran Juvidi, wielding the sword in his hand, preparing to deliver a strike. His mouth gritted as he shouted, "You brat." Damien used his ability, bending his arm nimbly and launched towards him to counterattack. Very quickly, the subordinate was stopped by him with just one hand grabbing his neck. The subordinate tried to struggle out of Damien's hand, but to no avail. On this side, Olin was so frightened that he was sweating cold sweat. He turned to him, revealing a scheming smile and asked, "You drew your sword against a noble, so this counts as self-defense, right?" Seeing that deadly expression, Olin flinched, not daring to say a word. Damien directly threw the subordinate to the ground, coldly walking towards him who was trembling. Standing in front of him, he called, "Oh, hey, relax." Olin sat upright respectfully on the chair, timidly trembling and replied, "Yes, sir." Damien started to negotiate. "Listen here. I can't afford to pay that amount of money right now." Olin fearfully stammered, "He's okay. He's okay." He placed his hand stained with fresh blood on his shoulder, revealing a friendly smile but not really, and proposed, "Then can I pay you in another way?" Forced to the corner, not wanting to agree but still had to agree, Olin choked, "Yes." The next day, outside the mansion, the chirping of birds echoed everywhere. Abio stood outside, gently pushing his glasses and said, "Father, my heart is aching." Paul turned around puzzled and asked, "Why? What is wrong?" He replied, "Because justice has been defeated by violence." His eyes fixed on Damien, who was being reminded by everyone. Marilda reminded her son, "Remember to eat and drink enough." Louise next to her added, "Damien, wish you a safe journey." He smiled and replied, "Yes, do not worry. I will be back." Ibio knelt on the ground, unable to accept AT, and held his head shouting, "Why? Why is AT like this? Damn A." Paul coldly reminded, "Stop with those words. Cheer for your brother on this trip." Saying this, he looked at his eldest son, thinking to himself, "Even though I agreed reluctantly, I am still worried about whether his plan will work." Just then Agans came Uvich, her face slightly sad, and spoke, "What a pity. Damien, I did not expect us to part so soon." As soon as he saw her, he smiled and greeted, "Miss Ains." Damien walked to Ains and said softly, "Thank you for your help." She smiled and replied, "Of course, I am just doing what I have to do." That is right. Our investigation is almost done, so we will be returning tomorrow." Saying this, Agans clasped her hands, closed her eyes and prayed, wishing Damien a smooth journey. He also clasped his hands and added, "Thank you." Agans opened her bright eyes and mentioned, "If you change your mind later." Damien immediately turned his head, saying boredly, "No way." Then he walked towards the carriage and asked, "Now that we are done with the farewells, let us go." Victor respectfully replied, "Yes. I have loaded the luggage." The ornately decorated carriage door was opened. He and his subordinate stepped on together. After sitting inside, Damien looked around for a while and praised, "This carriage is really spacious." Victor also excitedly cheered, So comfortable. Suddenly Olin sitting opposite hesitantly said, "Hello." He bowed and scraped, his face full of worry, and continued, "Throughout this trip, I will try not to make you feel uncomfortable in any way." Seeing this, he was very satisfied and said, "Good attitude. With that spirit, let us have lobster for lunch today." Hearing this, Olin confusedly said, "Huh." Then Damien turned to his close subordinate and signaled, "Victor, 80's time." He immediately understood and replied, "Yes." Dooming master. Victor leaned out of the carriage from the window, signaling the driver sitting in front to start. "Let us go." Immediately the horse was ordered to run. 80 startled and cried "Oh" before running. The wheel of the carriage gently moved, bringing everyone along together on the journey. Sitting inside the carriage looking "Oh," Damien said very excitedly, "All right, let us go," to the Gold Pixie family. As soon as he finished speaking, the carriage sped quickly along the dirt road, taking everyone straight to a new land. After arriving, everyone was overwhelmed by the luxury of the thing in front of them and marveled, except for Olin. They were standing at the Gold Pixie estate. Looking at the castle in front of them, Damien could not help but exclaim, "Truly the mansion of one of the richest families in the kingdom." Shockingly different. He turned to Olin, who was as gaunt as a dry stick, smiling brightly, and said, "Thanks to you, this trip was so smooth. If everything goes well, I won't forget your help." He replied tiredly, "Yes, yes. I have already reported to the Duke. You can just go and—" Saying this, Olin remembered the scene throughout the long journey, angrily thinking to himself, "That bastard, he makes me work harder than a slave. I hope nothing goes smoothly, and then he dies withered in there." Thinking that in his head, but aloud he still had to smile and say, "I hope everything goes smoothly." He turned his head back and smirked. "Thanks." Then Damien went inside alone, not forgetting to remind Victor, "I will be back later." He replied cheerfully, "Yes." Dooming master. Meanwhile in the back, Olin secretly raised his middle finger, cursing him. He walked inside the luxurious room of the family head with a confident demeanor. Seeing him, a deep baritone voice rang, "Oh, Damien Haxon." The owner of that voice was Duke Adam Goldpixie of the Apple Kingdom. Suspiciously asking, "That notorious troublemaker of the Haxon family." Hearing this, Damien smiled industrially and greeted, "Honor that you recognized me," but in his heart unhappily thinking, "Truly a bunch of the same." Adam propped his hand, coldly interrogating, "So, what do you want from me?" The reason. He quickly went to the main issue. "Actually, I borrowed money from the financial institution managed by your family. The repayment outlay has arrived." He seemed to understand and said, "Is that so? Then you are my customer." Damien continued to negotiate, making a proposal. "Please excuse me, but I do not have money right now, so I want to ask to pay in another way." And Adam confusedly wondered. "Another way?" He nodded and replied, "Yes. Instead of using money, I want to defeat the Lionbloom family to pay off the debt." Hearing this blunt declaration, Adam and Gaul seemed unable to believe it. Both of their faces filled with surprise. The knights next to them were no different, starting to whisper and discuss. One of them widened his eyes as if unable to accept it. Adam burst out laughing loudly, saying amused, "This kid must have heard the news already." The Gold Pixie's bodyguard knight, Gaul Heinrich, nodded and added, "It seems that is true." Damien squinted slightly, smiling confidently. In his heart he knew from before that everyone in the Apple Kingdom knew about this. Recently, in the border area between the Lionbloom and Gold Pixie houses, a gold mine was discovered. The two families, who did not like each other in the first place, now held a duel between lower-ranking knights to compete for the exclusive right to exploit that gold mine. I already know the outcome. The result was Lionbloom's great victory. They used that gold to quickly expand their forces, while the Gold Pixie house, on the contrary, saw their influence visibly decline. In short, if I help the Duke win, I can not only pay off the debt. Adam began to become interested. He probed, "You are really ambitious. I heard you once defeated Lionbloom's second son, and even destroyed the largest organization in landwork." Damien smiled confidently and replied, "The rumors are partly true." Adam raised his eyebrows slightly, honestly admitting, "Is that so?" "Sounds fascinating. I am looking for a knight to participate in the duel." He replied firmly, "Then there is no one more suitable than me. Who else besides me can fight Lionbloom's eldest son?" Hearing this answer, he said very interested, "Are you sure you can defeat him?" Everyone knows he is a genius. Damien raised his hand to affirm himself. It's true that his skills are formidable, but I also... Before he could finish speaking, the knight next to him interrupted. Lord, please do not believe his words. Those rumors are often exaggerated. Adam nodded in agreement. What you said also makes sense. This person is the intermediate knight. Ernst Howitz. He turned to him and looked with envious eyes and said, Moreover, Kiyoshi will bring back the perfect candidate for you. The other two knights nodded repeatedly in agreement. That is right. Miss Kiyoshi left a month ago to find a knight capable of fighting Michael Lionbloom. She is probably coming back soon. That is right. She always passes your test perfectly. So this time she will definitely bring back an excellent person. Adam was swayed by them. Hearing this, he nodded and said, What you guys said also makes sense. Damien turned to the mastermind, who was smug. He unhappily smirked contemptuously, thinking, These nasty ugly people ruined all my plans. He opened his arms and asked, My people think so. What about you? What do you think I should do? Seeing this, he quickly realized, he is probing to see how I react. Then I will show you. Thinking this, Damien definitely said, You guys are greatly mistaken. The crew-cut knight exclaimed in surprise. What? What did you say? He pointed at himself and bluntly declared, If you want to win in the match, then you must choose me. No matter who Kiyoshi brings back, they won't be as good as me. Ernst unhappily despised. That guy's really arrogant. Saying that while not knowing who she will bring back. Damien replied to him, If you need proof, I will block your strongest move. Hearing this, Ernst suddenly changed his expression, angrily gritting his teeth. What? He smiled contemptuously and said, Just your strongest move is enough. If I can block AE, then consider it as proving my strength. The knight was provoked to the point of red face, angrily thinking to himself, This bastard dares to despise me. He is just a low level. Ernst with extreme anger said to Adam, Lord, please allow me to teach this brat a lesson. He very amused thought. Sounds interesting. Then immediately agreed for the two to fight each other. Yuki, I allow you. Very quickly after, both people had moved to the training ground to start a showdown of strength. Victor outside worriedly called, Oh. Dooming Master, you came here to persuade the Duke? This thing. Damien started to stretch his limbs while reassuring. Just an unexpected occurrence. You just stand there. Hearing AT, then Victor turned to Ernst, who was angry and burning with fire, thinking to himself, I feel that the one in danger is you. AT's time. Gall sternly ordered. Start. Knight Howitz. He tightened his weapon in his hand and replied, Yes, sir. Ernst slammed the long spear on the ground, raising his voice and mocking his opponent. If you kneel down and beg, I will spare you. Contrary to him, Damien did not care at all, lazily yawned and said, I am too tired. Let us fight quickly. Ernst tightened the body of the spear, secretly cursing. This brat. His mouth angrily gritted his teeth. You are just seeking your own death. He started releasing an abundant stream of spiritual power. The color green completely occupied all of his hand. Immediately Ernst emitted a super great power throughout his body. Violent winds started to rise. Spiritual power surged throughout his body. He snidely asked, Did not you demand the strongest move? Seeing that crazy appearance, Damien hesitated slightly and asked himself, Could it be that I really angered him? Ernst pointed the spear at his opponent, angrily declaring and shouting loudly, I will punch a hole into your disgusting face. As soon as he finished speaking, Ernst jumped again towards him. What used to be where he was standing was gone. He and the spear in his hand rushed quickly forward, attacking with extreme anger. Damien raised his sword, preparing to block the blow. His eyes narrowed, observing his opponent, secretly calculating. Truly a middle-level knight is different. But if I just know where he is going to hit, then it's not difficult to... Before he could finish thinking, the forceful spear filled with power came straight at him. AT created a strike that did not hit his chest, causing Damien to bend over and lose focus, looking down at the stream of light that was emanating. Right at this moment, he took the opportunity to attack him. The weapon in Ernst's hand swung straight at him. The forceful spear rushed to VE, immediately shattering the sword in his hand. Seeing that Ernst was very smug, the corner of his mouth curved up to his ears. Achieving his goal, he excitedly thought to himself, You idiot. You fell for my trap. Being hit, Damien vomited blood. Falling backward, the wound on his chest, blood everywhere. Seeing this, Adam and Gall were very surprised, while Victor's face paled, his mouth agape, shouting, Dooming Master, while being seriously injured, but luckily Damien stopped in time. Looking at his angry expression after standing firm again, Ernst Howitz was quite surprised. Unbelievable. He blocked my surprise attack. The Duke was still calling his name with a smile, making him very surprised. Damien confidently asked again, "Am I the representative now?" The fight was UVA. Victor ran to hug the dooming master, making him also feel the pain of being hit, while still in a lot of pain. Still happy, when he cared about him being alright. The Duke came to Damien clapping his hands and praised him, because you blocked Howitz's slow move. In his head he was also sure that he was not normal, and had the Ryu power. Then announced to everyone, Damien Haxon has proven his strength, so now he will be appointed as the representative. The middle-level knight hearing that was not convinced, wanting to say more, but was looked at threateningly by Adam Goldpix, because he did not want to add any more. Hearing that the other guy resigned like that, he did not understand why things turned like that when he felt the strike had landed, and was still trembling. Damien knew the Duke did not care about him, also was strong but met the wrong opponent. However, he was smug about his level, already at the upper level, but because A ties the lower level knights that get to fight, so he had to act the part, enough to trick anyone. In the moment of blocking the move, if not for using magic, maybe he would have been in danger. At this moment, suddenly the Duke turned to look at Damien wanting to say something, then mentioned his injury. I can't just ignore AT. He touched the ring on his hand, to have IT radiate magic. Seeing a black hole appear, he guessed this was a space magic tool, but he took a box from inside. Opened AT and said this was a gift, while he still did not know what AT was. Afterwards, AT was also known that this was a muscle balancing pill, that this guy spent a lot of money on at the Alchemy Academy to get AT. Damien also understood. AT has the effect of increasing physical strength. Then he also said thank you, when AT was explained that AT is used in training, but AT has the effect of healing internal injuries. However, he was surprised, because he patted his shoulder wanting him to contribute more in the future, but his mouth still happily agreed. The next day, at the mansion, Damien was going to do warm-ups in the training area. When he touched his chest he felt the pill was very effective, impressed that after one night the wound was almost completely healed. He looked at the weapons, feeling that the equipment at the Duke's mansion was really good, very happy to be able to use AT for long-term training. However, he was surprised when someone recognized him as Damien Haxon. Seeing this guy standing on a step as tall as him, he wondered who this was, but still replied, asked him who he was. Then this guy also introduced himself as Pabel Bermond, a low-level knight. Also turned around to the back, pointed to his sworn brothers. Pabel Bermond excitedly showed off that they were dual knights, coming here to participate in the competition. Damien was about to speak and ask when he knew that, then was reminded about the match yesterday. These three were not there and said he was lucky. He is very uncomfortable, cause these guys want to come up and teach him a lesson for the guy from yesterday. These three guys are seething with murderous intent. Mentioning the battle with the Lionbloom house is a matter of life and death that has a big impact, wanting him to not lose face with his mediocre abilities. He also turns a blind eye when these guys are done lecturing him. They want to kick him to go practice. Looking at them talk to each other, he feels it is good to be able to see firsthand the knight abilities of the Duke's mansion. The big brother at this time takes a long breath, seriously performing the unmoving Wisdom King starting stance, and the other guy jumps up with ultimate technique Vermilion Bird Ascension. The two sides have confronted each other. The subordinate calls today's match number 987 will definitely win, but has been blocked by Pabel shouting Dream On. Then the two are still resisting each other very fiercely. Suddenly, the big brother wants to do something, but continuously waves his sword in front of that guy, making him very surprised. Being suppressed, but this guy has reacted, holding the wooden sword, chopping straight at Pabel's head. When he attacks, he opens his eyes, impressed as expected of Big Brother, having predicted my strike and blocked AT with his forehead, but his expression looks quite painful, and also bleeding. Pabel praises him for improving, declaring this match a draw. The fat guy also wants to fight, because he feels his body is itchy, but has been told by Big Brother to rest and then we will fight together. The three of them huddle together again, promising a match after 1 month, and are proud of their training progress, wanting to defeat Lionbloom and bring honor to the Duke's mansion. Pabel raises his sword and shouts loudly, all for one. Then all three shouted together, one for all. Which one among these people is smiling very satisfied? Victor goes to look at the Doom Master with a gray face. After having watched their match, wanting to say something, was wanting to ask him what is wrong, but Damien tells him he is screwed. Seeing the Doom Master call OI2 will be difficult in the upcoming duel, He still does not understand why AT was so sudden, but also knows the reason. He is not confident in winning with those idiots. In the Duke's room he is laughing very happily, saying this is not worthy of an upper level as a tie. Hearing his close aide definitely say he is not bothered at all, he wants to say the truth even more. The night before, Damien had told him he wanted to practice alone, making him not expect he would refuse training from Gall Heimlich. Seeing that he really likes the fun of AT, his close aide is silent, wanting to say something. But then, the Duke turns to ask him what he thinks of him. Gall tells him he is extraordinarily doing. Use Manhwa in a flash to block Howitz's strike. That is not something everyone can do. However, he asks about the win rate of this match, not knowing if they can win Lionbloom, but only receives a difficult-to-say answer. He says, because there are 3 people then, the side that has 2 wins first will win. The Duke stands up, saying that is right, walking and asking about the knights. Are they training well? Gall also calls that the intermediate knight Vincenzo is still training, so he believes there is nothing to worry about. Switching the scene to some tree, Damien is standing on this side very dejected, when they are a big trouble that he did not expect. Because they are stupid. Physically weak, only get the look but the inside is empty. He worries with this level, how will I win? Then again lost in thought. He is very dejected when he has run out of options and needs to interfere. Victor seeing the Doom Master like that is also flustered. The 3 guys are practicing. Being called stupid is also quite unexpected. One guy still can't believe AT when he is called stupid by Damien, but has seen him wearing something on his hand, saying they will spar now. The name Pable is still proud of his skill, thinking he does not know the situation. Then says he will challenge first, but Damien calls he does not want to fight just him. He is provoking, wanting all 3 to come at once. The 3 idiots seeing that, are also slightly doubtful, but all 3 are angry, because of his attitude. All 3 of them give up their swords accepting the offer. The reason for this is contrary to the knight rules, and wanting to deal with him right away. Afterwards, all 3 use their fists rushing straight forward, wanting to beat Damien to a pulp. He faces the 3 fists still very nonchalant. In the sparring arena, suddenly AT is unusually silent. The name Pable is lying straight on the floor, still does not understand what is going on. Quickly gets up, panicking, not knowing what just happened. He looks Zuvi at his 2 subordinates who are sleeping like the dead, and wants to say something even more. However, has to be surprised when hearing the voice call his name. Finally awake, Damien is standing disdainfully because these guys are as pathetic as he thought. Victor, seeing the scene in front of him, thought his master had done something again. When he knows these are the Duke's knights, he is also surprised. Below, Pable is still trying to remember attacking at the same time, but now does not remember anything. 5 minutes ago, when the 3 people were preparing to rush Uve, 1 punch had been easily dodged by Damien. One named rushing who also only hit air. Then he had raised his arm, giving each person a hit on the neck. Losing consciousness. At this time, Pable also rushed to confront him, also considering using all his strength, but had been easily thrown away by Damien's arm, together with a fist next to him. He had been defeated in an instant. His eyes, when he had fallen down, were also very blurry. Returning to the present, all 3 had woken up. Pable still does not believe they have been defeated, and been overwhelmed by him. Seeing him start to warm up his limbs, thinking he is a monster, the 3 guys shrink back when asked, who trained them? The big brother had confessed. He was trained by the intermediate knight Sebastian Vincenzo. Damien, hearing intermediate, is quite surprised, because knights at that level had such bad training. Also wanted to tell them to quit practicing, but he also did not want to get into trouble. Pable is surprised when he hears him propose. When after practice is done, come find him. So after today the 3 will fight with him every day. He tensely explains, afraid Lord Vincenzo will discover something happened, but he had told him to not worry. Sure how he will hit these guys, and not leave a scratch on their body. The 3 people hearing that at the same time check, not understanding why they were hit like that, but now do not see anything. Damien's expression naturally becomes very terrifying again, saying he learned a very special way of hitting people, making that guy's face turn pale. Long ago, there was a man who wandered around the continent to teach sinners. Known as the character shaper. His way of doing things was very simple. He punched them for an hour straight. If it did not work, he would double the time. According to legend, the longest torture he had ever performed was 12 hours. Through that process, the character shaper gradually felt pity for his victims and wondered, how can he punch someone without affecting their lives? And so he reached the realm of a master, with a technique called hidden assassination. These are the secret techniques Damien used on them, only feeling the pain and not leaving any marks. When he was done telling them, he asked if they understood. Everyone is cowering when being criticized as weak and worthless. But at this time he reassures them, because they still have a month until the match starts. During this time, he will turn the 3 people into useless but helpful bugs. They hearing that are even more confused. Victor feels very powerless, but also can't stop the Dung master from preparing to train them. Damien is quite surprised when the Duke's servant finds him. Knowing the Duke is looking for him, he asks what is wrong, but this guy is hesitant. A mysterious girl has appeared. He knows the news. Miss Chiosai has returned. Returning to the Duke's room, he is listening to his daughter greet him when she just came back from being far away. His eldest daughter Chiosai has saluted her father, saying she has returned. Then she glances Zuve at the name Howitz. This old man speaks up, greeting the miss for returning, with a disdainful tone. Adam Goldpixie speaks up, wanting to know has his daughter found a knight to represent the battle. She glances Zuve at the person behind, saying she has found one. The Duke sees this name standing up, also does not know what he wants to do. This guy introduces himself vigorously. I am the beast Guillermo Blackwing. The other knights in the room are whispering, when recognizing him as the famous mercenary, and heard he had participated in the War of the Eclairon Kingdom, almost slaughtering the entire lower-level Jeeper rep. Hearing that no knight can defeat this guy, the Duke quite happily calls, so he has heard a lot about Guillermo Blackwing, telling about how he got his title by berserking into a beast in the middle of the battlefield. The other guy, hearing his feats, does not expect the Apple Kingdom to know him. His daughter Chiosai speaks up. Definitely this name will be loyal, and promises to participate in the match. However, points at him definitely can defeat Michael Lionbloom. The other people are also trying to praise this guy, thinking the opposite side has not reached this level. The Duke sees that as good news, but there is still a bit of difficulty. Kiyoshi, hearing, does not understand what her father means. He calls he will introduce a person. Declares he will be the person representing the match. The 2 people who just returned also turn to look at the door. He walks in confidently, being introduced as Damien Haxon. His daughter looks at him with an unfriendly gaze, but still repeats when she called her father to wait. But you called you never said you would wait. Hearing that, she freaks requesting her father to change the representative. The Duke saying he will consider that matter. Kiyoshi, hearing that, goes crazy, calling do not think, because she has never heard of Damien. He sees that and guesses she is his daughter. Then again points fingers, criticizing him as not as good as Guillermo. Damien does not expect to be seen as a bug. When being compared to an unknown knight, he is stunned, while the other guy smiles evilly. Seeing him express an attitude to him, he also pays attention to this name. The Duke, hearing her scold, has replied knows for sure. Guillermo is very famous. However, he still affirms he is strong enough to block Howitz's ultimate move. The other guy, hearing repeated, is very annoyed. His daughter is dissatisfied, saying her father does not want to admit her ability, and is also a chance to ignore them, exposing his actions not going with his words, with both his mother and her. The Duke, hearing that, is angry because his daughter is behaving badly in front of a guest, but Chiyoshi only apologizes perfunctorily, using the reason that she traveled a long way and is tired. Seeing her father and daughter argue, Damien guesses they do not get along much. Afterwards, the Duke speaks up, not wanting to argue anymore, calling out to discuss other matters before getting to this matter later. The name Guillermo suddenly laughs like he is crazy, making him turn to not understand what is going on. He proposes they do not need to discuss through words, because they are men. Kiyoshi, hearing that, is also surprised. Gaul feels that is very rude. Then this name has stood in front of him, provoking. Whoever is stronger will be the representative. Seeing the Duke ask what he thinks, then he knows he wants to test him again. He knows he needs to use his level to resolve this matter, but his mouth agrees with what he said. The winner will be the representative. Then speaks his thoughts about not needing to fight. Guillermo does not understand why he is holding his hand. However, he speaks calling I also want to try some things. This guy, hearing that, widens his eyes, then laughs loudly, wanting to try with him to decide who is the strongest person. He warns if he accidentally pulls his hand off, Itai is also not his fault. Damien, with a triumphant expression, expresses he is not afraid. That guy retorts he won't show any mercy, threatening to only dislocate his shoulder. Then rushes Zuvit, wanting to grab his hand. In his eyes also flashes a different glint. Damien, with his strength, is about to throw him down. Afterwards, is a knockdown, making him fall straight to the floor. The Duke and the old man Gaul, seeing this, are shocked. Even the name Howitz is overwhelmed. Kiyosai, seeing the knight she brought back be defeated quickly, also does not understand what just happened. The old Closade also has to admire. Wonderful. Remembering Guillermo Blackwing had tried to grab Damien's hand first, but he used his own strength to resist and threw him to the floor, knowing Damien is not only strong, but also has a lot of experience. Was thinking, he is startled because he hears that name cursing. He looks at him with murderous intent, asking him for daring to humiliate him like that. Having predicted AT, so he replies he is tougher than he thought, because he had planned to dislocate this guy's shoulder. Guillermo curses at his face, grabbing his weapon, calling out he will cut him to pieces. He has grabbed his pair of axes, wanting to use his strength to fight Damien. Kiyosai at this time is panicking, calling "Oh, Guillermo," but he has rushed madly towards him, wanting to smash his skull immediately. Was wanting to attack him, then he was surrounded and stopped by another force. Being controlled, he widens his eyes, not knowing what is going on. Gaul has spoken "Oh," telling him to stop. When he dares to do that, this old man grabs the sword on his body, angry that he dares to draw his weapon in front of precious people like the Duke. Also asks him, tired of living already. Guillermo, when seeing him radiate such a power, also feels a bit scared. Damien also feels very scared, because his aura radiates oppression. Knowing this is not a normal upper level, the dooming miss is currently very tense. When hearing the old man call "Oh" to ignore this matter because of her. But there is a condition, which is to understand that there is no second time. That guy, when being released from oppression, also collapses and pants. Suddenly the Duke claps his hands boisterously, then stands up and dispels the atmosphere when saying, "So there is internal conflict." Then declares again, "AT is best if Damien holds the position of representative." Howitz immediately retorts that match was not fair, making him also wonder. He defends the name Guillermo has not recovered his stamina. Points "Oh, Damien has more of an advantage." He feels this guy is really troublesome. He closes his eyes and listens to him say, "That guy is a knight who uses weapons. Can't determine his strength through a hand match." The dooming miss also speaks up, agreeing with these words. Needs to compare skills in a fair way, not these childish games, but a rematch. The Duke has spoken "Oh," teaching his daughter, "Do not force people anymore," but is scolded by her pretending. This time the Duke has actually gotten angry to the point of slamming the table, telling her to stop talking about his incompetence. Kiyoshi, hearing herself be scolded, is very shocked, wanting to say something. However, trembles and bows her head, saying, "I was rude." The name Howitz, standing to the side seeing this scene, is even more hateful. Being tense, Damien has spoken, calling the Duke, requesting to say a bit, making him quite surprised. He says he will accept the doom miss's offer, making her quite surprised. His also falls into contemplation. The scene has switched to two masters and servants walking on the street. Victor babbles, not knowing why he accepted the challenge, when staying silent would be less troublesome. Damien calls "Oh," he has his reasons and does not need to complain. Suddenly he sees the weapon shop, feeling AT is convenient. When knowing this is the forge the Duke mentioned, he asks again to be sure, and is also confirmed. Remembering when the Duke agreed to the offer, knowing his sword was broken, so told him he had prepared a new sword at the Duke's forge, seeing he could defeat that guy with a wooden sword, but he won't refuse this kindness. Hearing the sound of someone going in, the person from the forge has discovered them. Victor calls he is here by the Duke's order, to take the new sword for the Dung Master. The blacksmith also says he has heard the orders. He points the way, going through the entire shield production area. Afterwards, they have also reached the dazzling and super sparkling weapon warehouse. Victor feels IT is amazing. Seeing he likes IT that much, the Dune Master also asks if he wants to take some things. Damien's gaze suddenly bumps into something, is quite surprised. Looking at the most outstanding sword there, he vaguely recognizes. The blacksmith speaks up, saying, "AT is truly a special sword, is not AT." Explaining, that is the sword created by a knight here, but had to leave when AT was not finished, and the owner has never held AT. He asks, "Did that knight give you resonant steel to forge this?" He is surprised that someone knows about this. Its shape is similar to a weapon he likes to use, once called the musician's sword in the past. Seeing him choose that sword, the blacksmith is surprised that he chose AT when he already knew where AT was forged. Observing the blade, he feels that unlike normal steels, AT only increases mana. Resonant steel possesses an ability to push mana and create waves. Then he speaks, asking the name of the sword. The blacksmith tries to remembers the knight who ordered IT, said that he would call AT the 1,000-mile sword. In the forge, suddenly there is the sound of a door closing with a bang. Damien has gotten the sword back to his place. Then has to be surprised when someone asks if he has found his favorite sword. A maidservant going with two subordinates salutes very formally, because she has come to meet him. She introduces her name Rebecca, maid of Miss Chioc, saying the order to find him, wanting to talk for a bit, but Damien has refused because he does not know what there is to talk about. This girl also calls she does not know, when the miss is more than what he thinks. Hearing he can take what he wants, he guesses she is indirectly trying to entice him, but there are still things to verify, and will pretend to follow her. Afterwards, he has agreed telling them to lead the way. This is the restaurant directly managed by Miss Chioc. The maid advertises, "Need to make a reservation to enter and only the nobility has the right to use a Thai." Then says today the entire restaurant is empty. Damien can enter. He hearing that says something. Her footsteps stop, right at a door. However opens the door, telling him that Miss Chioc is inside. When being invited in, he also peeks his head and wondering about the invitation. Damien's expression is surprised, because he smells a strange smell. She starts to pour wine, blaming him for arriving late. Then invites him to sit down, while that chair radiates a very unpleasant smell. With the wine glass in her hand, she evilly calls Damien here.